What up, what up, what up? How's it going, everybody? So we got my man Burning Hearts Exotics here. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors real quick. So today's video is sponsored by Zilla Footwear as well as Fry's Critters. Make sure you guys check them out. Zilla Footwear did actually send us some awesome shoes to promote them real quick. So I'll solo out real fast so you guys can see these. So you guys all have seen this at least, the Green Tree Python. Beautiful double-sided print. We also got these while we were away. They were a day late, but check that out. Chameleons, double-sided print. Awesome shoe, guys. Definitely check them out if you guys are looking for some awesome exotic animal shoes. Also, make sure you guys check out Fry's Critters, a huge supporter of the channel. Big shout out to him, guys. Make sure to check out. He's our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and he's starting a Twitch. Make sure to check him out. But without further ado, let's get this started. So I'll let you introduce yourself to everybody here.
Yeah, hey, my name's Donovan Benson. I own Burning Heart Exotics. I live in Redmond, Washington, which is kind of near Seattle. It's just on the other side of Lake Washington from there, and it's I'm actually moving to Bakersfield, California. My wife, her mom's health isn't very good, so we're gonna go live by her. And yeah, so we're moving September 22nd is when I got the moving truck. So it's gonna be yeah, it's pretty soon. So I'll be in California soon.
Oh, so you'll end up being my neighbor, because I'm out here in Arizona.
Nice. Yeah, totally.
So what? I don't mean to skip over all that. It sucks you having to move out there for health and everything. How are you able to take all your animals and stuff with you across lines and stuff, or are there things you're gonna have to part with?
I mean, I don't know, you can have up in Washington, it's legal to have them. There's certain counties in Oregon that you can't drive through. I know, I'm not sure the exact laws, but I'm just gonna get on I-5 and drive, man.
No, I meant everything you have in your collection, which I haven't asked you yet what you got.
Yeah.
But are you able to take all of that to Cali? Is Cali cool with everything you've got?
Yeah, Cali's cool with everything. You can have more in Cali than you can up here in Washington.
Really?
So it's
I think he froze. Or did I freeze? I think we're good. How's it going, everyone? Oh yeah, it's him. He got the ring. There he is.
Sir. Yeah, no, Cali, you can have more in Cali than you can up here in Washington. So I'm not tripping about anything really.
Right on. So what all do you work with?
Well, so far I've successfully bred reticulated pythons. I had my first clutch a couple years ago, and I had 3 clutches that year. And yeah, they were all mainland retics. And then I also bred ball pythons, and I haven't had any retics lay this year yet. I'm still kind of learning how to food cycle them. Plus, I was breeding rabbits, and I quit breeding them, so my food supply kind of shortened, switching to pigs and stuff. But I also own, so I have probably, I don't know, I think I've counted maybe 16 or 17 mainland retics. Nice. I've got a couple I've got one super dwarf, a Coyote. Shit. Is that back? So I have one super dwarf, a Coyote, and then I'm getting a Calatoa, a super dwarf that I'm going to be getting here pretty soon. That's
awesome.
Yeah, I've got 2.2 green Anacondas. I was trying to breed them. I don't know what the heck happened. I think the female wasn't big enough. I don't think she had enough fat reserves, because I swear she ovulated. She had, it looked like she ate a giant rabbit for 3 or 4 days. And that was a lot of fun. But luckily now, she was a little picky before, but I got her to start accepting pigs weekly. So I'm hoping she's gonna cycle for me this year, and we'll go full term with the babies there. And then I've got some BCIs.
Nice.
So yeah, I've got boas. I've got a false water cobra that I'm raising up. I've got a couple corn snakes. I've got an Angolan's python, but mostly like retics and ball pythons and the green anacondas. That's my main focus right now.
Right on. I'm definitely excited about the green anacondas. That is one of my my pet favorites. I actually almost came home with a green anaconda from Pomona, but my wife talked me out of it. Actually, you know what? She talked me out of quite a few things because there was a few things I almost came home with. Expos are bad to go to with money, I swear.
Yeah, I mean, green anacondas, like, I don't know. I love them, you know. And you saw the male that I was showing you guys earlier. He's like, I didn't have him as a baby. I bought him from a local breeder, and he hasn't been. I don't know if he's bred before yet or not, or he was someone's pet that they got him from. But I've been like the third owner. He's like 10 or 12 years old, and he's like a good size. He's not like over maybe 20 pounds. So he's like 9 feet long and like, 20 pounds.
So he's like healthy weight.
Yeah, he's really manageable. And, they, you saw me, I can open his cage and like rub his chin. Like they're totally different than the retakes with the food response and stuff like that. So you won't necessarily get a 200-pound snake, and they grow way slower too. They grow way slower than other snakes.
Yeah, that's good for them though. It's the same with like retics. I like growing them out small or like slower than most people, pounding them with food early on, and then you get these really obese, retics that are only 6 foot, but they're as girthy as one you would say at freaking like 17 foot.
Yeah, no kidding. It's for me, like feeding the retics, it's kind of I mean, I read their body language a lot with the smaller ones. I like one thing I've noticed with snakes is if you like feed them slowly for like the first, year and a half, 2 years, they'll make up that weight. Like as soon as you like start ramping up the food, it's like nothing really changed. It's just like they just grow quicker, and it's like no time was lost at all. So what I have run into though is when I am like trying to food cycle a female, so I'll start feeding her heavy, every 5 days or something, every week, a good sized meal. Then she'll get girthy, and then she won't cycle, and then all of a sudden she grows like an extra like 20-30 pounds. So I ran into that a couple times. So, but yeah, I'm totally with you there. They're a lot more manageable. Like I have a 150-pound retic, and then I have a 60-pound retic, and she laid maybe like 8 more eggs like the big ones did, but she's so much more manageable. Like it's 150-pound snake is a lot of weight, and they don't need to be that big.
Right. Especially because like in the wild, I mean, you find some pretty hefty ones, but when you find them, they're solid muscle and not like fat. And I mean, you can tell they're years upon years of age when you see them that big, as to where, when you find a young one under like, I don't know, 8 years old, you see them more of a slender body, more in the trees and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just got married, and my wife, we're waiting to do the honeymoon because we're moving and stuff. But I keep telling her I want to go to Thailand and Malaysia and go like python hunting, and that's a dream of mine. I've never really I've always wanted to go to the jungle, but like now that I like have these exotic snakes, just seeing them in the wild, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, me and my wife want to do that as well. We were talking about that. We want to go out to like Australia and go look for stuff out there, and go to New Zealand and find all the cool things out there. I told her I want to go find the giant the giant wettas they have out there, like giant crickets, dude. They're crazy looking. And then there's a ton of stuff they've got out there. Oh, your little isopods. You do have a question here in the comments. Do you like isopods?
Do you like? You know, I really do like. So one of my friends, he's a local guy, and he had a bunch of isopods that like, you know, they're those things where you look at them and then they like they're just cool. Like I bought maybe like 5 or 6 colonies from him, and they were like, I don't know, the colors and stuff like that. I really like them. I've always liked roly-polies, but I just wasn't like, I wasn't paying enough attention to them because like, I don't know, it's just putting them in the right spot in my house. Like I'd put them on this shelf where I'd have like a snake cage below where there's a light on it, and then like it would make it condense inside the tub. So I moved it, and then
Yeah.
trying to get them to eat. Like I started using this like powder that you mix with water and you freeze it, and that worked really well for food. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like if I were to bring it to the show and sell them, I'd need to have a lot of them, and I don't really want to have that many insects to take care of, you know.
Right. No, it makes sense. No, yeah. My wife, she's all about the roly polies, or as all they call them, isopods. She's got some Japanese magic potions. She's got some clowns, dairy cows, some giant canyons, a whole bunch of stuff over here. Shout out to GCG Reptiles that hooked us up with those too. She came out here to give us a tegu. That was a little too crazy for them, and they brought it out here, and then went to the Pomona Expo with us, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, she brought out all these for my wife, so now she's got like a ton of freaking isopods.
Right on. Yeah, I had like dwarf whites, dairy cows, Oreo crumble, like armadillium. I can't remember. They have really cool names though, the scientific names. And then
we've got some duckies.
Question mark. Yeah, rubber duck. Yeah, I had question mark roaches as well, but I was never able to. I was never able to like breed them. But because I was really trying to get something I could feed, because I have several like they're kind of like subadult tarantulas, and I was trying to use them for kind of breeding project and to supplement them instead of buying crickets all the time at the pet store. But
smart.
Yeah, never really had much luck breeding those. So
yeah, we have to get a ton of crickets because we keep a lot of tarantulas, scorpions, and centipedes. But the centipedes get like pinkies and stuff, like frozen thawed and things like that, because centipedes are really, really ferocious eaters.
Yeah, I had a centipede for a while. I don't know how he died, but he did. I opened the tub one day and he was just like curled up. But when I got him at the show, I was like, so I was at my table and I'm like showing she was my girlfriend at the time. I was like, look at it. And I just grabbed like something and I poked it. It crawled up the side, crawled down the table, and it was crawling all across the ground. It was terrifying. And they can move fast. Like those things are no joke, you know, if they're totally different than like old world tarantulas. You know, old worlds will run, but they like to hide. The centipedes, those things are freaking, they're psycho, man. They're terrifying.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. At Pomona, I was walking around with Ghost over there from JTK Reptiles. He had me. He's like, "Hey, go draw a crowd around and kind of help some people out." He's like, "Cause a lot of people were having issues selling stuff because the way certain things were spaced out." So they put some like smaller tables, but they put them in like a hole in the wall type thing, and so it was like really hard for people to like notice they were there. And so he gave me this big monitor. It was a big Asian water monitor, T positive albino, and was running around with him. And it was funny because he was like, "All right, just go over there, get a crowd, and then come back." And I was like, "I got this." And I went over there.
An hour tops, 2 hours late.
Yeah, he's like, hour tops. Yeah, I went over there and I got stuck for 2 hours in like one area.
Damn.
Like everybody
Monitors-
boxed me in. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's. I want to get a couple of the yellowhead monitors. I really want to get one of those. They're illegal up here in Washington to have them, from what I understand. And I don't want to risk like having something that I can't have, and then freaking animal control coming and taking everything else I have. So in California, I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on a monitor lizard.
If you end up getting a monitor and you decide to get something like worth getting type thing, highly suggest JTK Reptile. That's my boy out there. He runs a shop. And man, he's got some amazing monitors over there. A lot of cool morphs and different various species. I mean, I think he's the only one in the U.S. that has a black dragon mangrove monitor.
Nice.
And I mean, seeing that animal firsthand was just incredible. So seeing. I work with mangrove monitors. I love mangrove monitors. I've worked with monitors for many years, and to see a lot of the variations from all the islands where the mangroves come from, and then go to see that, it has piqued my interest so much more when it comes to monitors. So definitely check them out when you get down there to California.
Yeah, totally. I've been looking at a lot of the monitor breeders down there. It's hard. I have a hard time remembering names, but one of my friends, he got a black dragon, and like even as a baby, he could like open its cage and it would like crawl out on him, which I don't think that's typically normal, but
no, it's just you got to work with them. Really got to put a lot of work with them, especially right out the egg. If you can socialize them, you're golden.
Yeah. So I think getting from a good breeder is important. So,
hold on, catch up on comments. Got your mangrove, bro. Got a gym out, guys. Have a great life. Thanks, Plague. Appreciate you. Someone with I know someone with a Nile. Nobody wants your Nile, bro. Freaking Quentin. No, the black dragon isn't a mangrove. You might have heard it wrong. No. So black dragon is a morph. So there's black dragon mangrove monitor. There's a black dragon Asian water monitor, lace, things like that. Most common one is a lace. But let's see. So what is your favorite reptile to work with?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think, honestly, it kind of like, I'd say I like working with two of my green anacondas, the two bigger ones actually. One of the small ones, I'm spending a lot of time with her. She's about 1.5 years old, and I think she's socializing well. The other one, his name's Bruce. He is just kind of like totally psycho. I've been trying to work with him. He's bitten me more than any other snake I have. He's bitten me like 2 or 3 times, which I don't really like working with him because I enjoy it, but you don't get as much as you do from the big ones. Like the big ones, like they'll come out, they like want to say what's up. They'll look at you, you'll put your arm out, they'll crawl up your arm and stuff like that. I like breeding the retics a lot because
He froze again. They've got that McDonald's Wi-Fi up there.
sorry about the connection. I tried to connect to Chrome, but my phone wouldn't let me. It said I had to use Safari. But I like breeding the retics a lot because there's the morphs, the colors. There's so much you can work with, and like I'm a big snake guy. Like I like really big snakes for a reason. That's just how I am. always have, and it's incredible that I'm able to work with them right now. So being able to, breed them, and looking forward to like adding some like caramel gene to the super dwarf projects. It's really exciting to me because I'm always at expos, and I'm the guy that will sell a mainland to a person that never had a retic before, and I have no problem selling it to them if I think they're confident and capable of taking care of it. So being able to work with just the big snakes, especially like introducing them to new people, I really like that part. And then like I like the ball pythons. I haven't really hatched anything that I'm like, super like investment quality, but I've put quite a bit of money into my collection, and I'm raising it up right now. So I'll be, kind of building both of my, my super dwarf projects, and then my ball python projects kind of side by side together. So looking forward to that. Ball pythons are relatively easy. They're a lot easier to work with, and I appreciate that though. Like being able to, trying to ultrasound a female retic, it's I haven't had any luck with it. My buddy Dylan said it's pretty easy doing his berms. I've tried doing my retics, and I honestly don't know what I'm looking at. Like I don't know if my ultrasound's not strong enough. It should be, because he's working with the same one. We have a Contech. But the ball pythons, you could just open the tub, scan them, and it takes about an hour and a half to clean all of my balls. It takes me about 3 hours to clean all of my retics in this room. So it's not, it's just different. I'm looking forward to being in a warmer environment so I could take them out more. Take them in the yard, take them to the park. Up here in Washington, it's a little cold, and I don't really own the house, so I'm kind of low key breeding the snakes here. I had but it's all, with the balls, I'm breeding rats, so they kind of come hand in hand, which I don't like that, part as much.
Yeah, see, I can't do that. I mean, I tip my hat to people that can actually sit there and breed rats. I cannot stand the smell of rats. I don't know why. I cleaned them constantly, but like that little whiff of rat, I'm like, nope, can't do it. So I do frozen thawed on everything. I just get that shit from Cold Blooded Cafe. Sponsor me. I'm not just kidding.
Right before this podcast, or this stream, I was cleaning like a bunch of my rats, and one of my males like freaking started going after, and he totally killed like all of my babies. Like there were maybe like I put them all in the same tub. He killed maybe like, well, they weren't a lot of them, maybe like 25, 20. And so I had all these
not a lot of them, maybe like 25.
But there was so I like was trying to feed them, like, so I grabbed all of them and I took them to my ball python room, and sure enough, like I was able to feed one to like 25 out. I probably have like maybe 55 snakes in that room. So I found some of them refused it, but I did feed them a couple days ago, so I don't know if they weren't hungry. So frozen thawed is definitely something I might do. I'm gonna try breeding in Bakersfield. I'm gonna get a swamp cooler, and if I can cool a shed off to that temperature, then I'm gonna stick with it. But I don't know what energy prices are gonna be. Food prices. I'm already contacting like a supplier so I can buy 4 pallets at a time and get like.
Right.
So I'll see what's the rat situation in Bakersfield is kind of that's a big question mark for me, because feeding live is so expensive though. Spending some places, if you're lucky, you get them for like $3 a rat, and it's like you every week it's like a couple $100, and then it's versus for food. I spent like $900. I want you to get new food for like 4 months probably, so it's not as big of a deal. There's the labor though, the time too. So
the time that's put into them, take care of them, everything to invest into keeping them, the bedding, that's, I don't know, man. That's with the way prices are going now, man. It's getting pretty up there to keep stuff now. I mean, it's I think I saw $6 for a small mouse, and I was like, "What?
A mouse?
A mouse?
Damn. Yeah, that's
$6." Somebody sent me that picture. It was $6 for a mouse, and it was like a small to a medium was like $6 or almost $7 after tax. I was like, hell no.
yeah. I don't. I can't imagine how like. I can't imagine charging someone that. If I were to selling to like breeders, I get if someone comes by and they buy like 2 rats, it's kind of like a huge waste of your time.
Right.
But like you don't need to sell to those people. You could find people that want like 15
Quantities.
Yeah, and then so we'll see. It's profitable, but no one wants to do it. And if you hire employees to take care of it, like good luck.
That eats into your cost more.
Well, it eats into your cost, but good luck finding employees that are willing to clean up rat shit when everyone wants to sit at home.
For real. Especially right now, dude. It's hard to find good help nowadays. Because we thought about doing that when my wife was stuck in the hospital. My son, I needed the extra help, and I ended up having one guy come help me, and it was a younger kid. He was like 16, 17. All he had to do was just clean tubs. That's it. Just wipe the tubs outside. That was it. That's all he had to do. Spray them out, clean them, disinfect them, let them dry, move them inside. He had maybe 50, 60 tubs he had to do. I went and checked on him after 3 hours. He did 10 tubs in 3 hours.
Sorry.
And then was like, he did the three tubs 10 hours, and then 3 tubs or 10 tubs 3 hours. Sorry, I got confused. And he was like, I don't know how much more I can do. I was like, what have you done?
Yeah, no kidding.
It was like the easiest thing I had to do today.
Yeah. I'm like, I do construction, so I get in the zone. Like I kind of train my brain to like, get in the zone. And I cleaned, let's see, I don't have a ton of rats now. I cleaned maybe like 14 or 15 tubs in like 45 minutes. And I still have maybe like another 4 to do. And then I've got like 4 mice tubs to do. I don't have a lot of mice. They're for baby ball pythons. And yeah, just being able to do it quickly. That's the main thing. If someone, freaking people want to make $20 an hour, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I really don't. But like what you said, it becomes expensive doing something like that. Hopefully one day I can produce enough snakes where, paying, $1,200 a month for rats isn't a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. I see like some people want to. Ooh, what the hell? One of the kids throwing stuff in the house again. Yeah, I see sometimes where it was, or like that, they just like that same incident. Yeah, I literally told him, you clean all those, you toss him $50. He wanted $50 for doing 10 tubs.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this should have taken you like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're 3 hours in and 10 tubs in, and you still have 40 more to do. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. How many snakes I cleaned that were still in said tubs? I was like, in this amount of time that you did 10, like, really, guy?
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of people have that work drive anymore. It's all expecting to get paid but not put in the work.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot with the hobby nowadays of new people trying to get in, is they don't want to put in the work, and so it doesn't pay off for them.
Yeah, it's it does take a lot of time. Like, it's I wake up in the morning and like I think about snakes, and you know, it's hard to find time, like when shit gets busy though, like to if it's like really busy. I remember like I was doing YouTube for a while, and then I got overwhelmed with it. You know, you get overwhelmed pretty easily, so I quit doing the YouTube videos, and then managing social media, you know, taking care of the feeders. It's kind of a lifestyle, and time flies though when you're doing it. It's both good and bad. Like, you know, weeks will go by and you'll be focused on like a couple animals, and you know, it just seems to fly by. But then it's like, you know, before you know it, the whole year, it's next season already almost, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's time flies. I mean, especially when you work with various species. I mean, it's always breeding season for something. You know, when you start working with a ton of different animals. You know, when you're working with, say, different frog species that are found all over different localities and things like that, and then you're looking at from frogs to geckos to tortoises to toads, and you're looking at ball pythons, other big snakes, stuff like that. It's always something different, something, you know, something's always within season, so it just keeps you going, you know.
Yeah, totally.
What's up, Cody? What's up, Emily and Big D's? How's it going? Rob. Sorry, I didn't say hi, guys. We were in a conversation. I don't like to interrupt. Or at least I try not to. No. So, how did you get into the hobby?
So like growing up, I always I've always liked reptiles. You know, going to the aquarium, I'd like to, you know, grab them. They'd have these like tanks you could put your hands in. I'd always grab stuff and like to hold it. Every time I was at the beach, I'd try and find critters I could grab onto. And then I want to say I was in like 3rd grade when I got a ball python. And, you know, I did what everyone else, you know, who buys a ball python from the pet store does. And then I put it in a glass tank with like a heat light, a red heat lamp for nighttime. And I would take the snake out of the tub and feed it a live mouse. And I didn't really know anything else, you know, and the snake ended up going off of food, and I was, you know, not being very responsible. I ended up, you know, the snake ended up passing because it went long enough with that food. I tried offering it food, but the husbandry, I think, was off. Then I got a green anaconda or a green iguana a couple of years later, and you know, I love that thing, but it's freaking crazy, man. It was like it whipped me every time. You know, I grabbed it one time, his tail fell off, and it was a beautiful animal, and I just wanted to get a really big green iguana, and like I really wanted that, but I didn't know what I was ready for at that time. They sold them at the pet store for like $30-40. So then now I've kind of like went through some shit, you know, as a young adult, and then, you know, ended up kind of.
We lost him. His internet's got some problems. It's all right. Sorry, guys. Some technical difficulties. I think I don't know if his phone died or what happened with that. What was the most aggressive reptile you've had to deal with? Me personally? Well, he's not here. I'll answer that one. Me personally, the most aggressive I've ever had to deal with. It's gonna sound funny, but it was actually a really pissed off tokay gecko. And the person tried telling me it was captive bred, but I think it was a wild caught. And that thing just had the worst attitude ever. Like every time I opened the door to the enclosure, this dude would come out from wherever he was, would come out, get right on this log, and be ready to like just go. And he was ready to just mess somebody's day up. That thing was bad. I don't know exactly what happened to him. Checking the backstage to see where he's at. Let's see where it happened. I don't know if he's trying to figure out how to get back or not. I don't know. I don't think this is his first live on YouTube, but there is a chance. Sorry, kids are fighting. I'm not entirely sure what happened to him. I don't know if his computer died, or I know he's been having issues with connecting Wi-Fi and stuff, so he was having a bit of problem. But let's see what happens. See if he comes back. If not, then this might be a short live today, guys. 'Cause I want to make sure I keep the light on him, so I don't want to turn this into our usual just open hangout. Maybe if he doesn't come back, then we will start another one after this as just a hangout live. But I don't want to do that. But we will see what happens. Yeah, Fry Lucian was here. He's running around. He's hanging out with Malia. He came back home after chemo, and he's feeling pretty good. He wanted a Happy Meal on his way home, so my wife went and got him that. There we go.
I had it hooked up to an extension cord, and I didn't notice that the extension cord didn't work, so my phone ended up dying.
Oh no!
Yeah, but yeah, so I had
turn it sideways.
I kind of settled down a little bit here in my house, and I watched one too many Instagram videos of Jay Brewer pulling retic eggs, and I just got I got hooked. I was like, okay, I need one, so I ended up buying one, and then freaking like it was a massive learning curve. I bought one, and then I think the second snake I got was a boa constrictor, and the initial snake that I got ended up so when I got it, freaking prehistoric death. Like, he's not watching this, but he the snake had mites on it, so I didn't know. Like, I was trying to read the language of the snake because it was going in its water bowl every time, and like I'm like, okay, it's too I can't remember if I was thinking it was like too hot or something. So I ended up getting like a radiant heat. They're not a radiant heat panel, but like a ceramic heat emitter, and it ended up like giving it like neurological issues in the brain because it started having like, I think I cooked it too much because I measured the temperature in there one time and it got way too hot. But that snake ended up I ended up euthanizing it just because it started like spiraling its head and acting all crazy. And I cured the mites once I kind of figured it out. But then I started buying a couple snakes here and there, and there was a guy on a local reptile page, and he was like selling some like herpstat thermostats, and that's the main thing I wanted. The main thing I wanted were these vision cages he had, which turned out to be totally disgusting. Like, I cleaned them with oven cleaner and got burns on my hands because the guy just left snakes in them for like, honestly, he probably left snakes in there and didn't clean them for a good like 6 months for how bad they were. They were just caked. But
that's how I got a couple of ours, was like that. But instead of getting enclosures, we got Sterilite tubs, like the ones you could get at Walmart, and that's what they brought them in. And it was insane. Oh, he was here. Okay. I don't think you heard me. I think you had Ring of Death.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know why. Like, I'm close to my router right now, but so
I'll say this. We got something similar from that is, but instead of getting enclosures, we got those Sterilite tubs that you can get at like Walmart, and they brought me a 14-foot and a 16-foot retic. And the 14-foot had a respiratory infection and mites. The other one just had an early sign of respiratory, but they tried telling me they didn't live in these tubs. And I mean, they had nowhere to go, dude. They were just in complete coil. They couldn't move. And I opened the tub up, and I tried getting the one to come out, and it was trying so hard, but it took it so long to like move because it was used to just sitting in that one spot. And yeah, it was so heartbreaking seeing her do that, or seeing both of them try to do that. Like we threw those tubs away in front of them because I brought my own the really big hefty black and yellow lid. I brought the biggest ones I could because I was told 14 foot, 16 foot.
Yeah.
Some pretty big fucking snakes. Like there's no reason to put them in a tiny little sterolite. And yeah, dude, they tried telling me they weren't living in them. Urates at the bottom, completely caked.
Oh my gosh.
Like enough to where I could have like taken it off and like slapped it across their face with like as like a thick plate. Like it was, dude, it was nuts. But I ended up getting those snakes for free because those guys were like, I don't know, I kind of got a little angry and I kind of intimidated them because those things were bad, really bad shape.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it's you either give them to me or I'm calling animal control, or like, we're gonna get somebody involved. This is bad. You guys legitimately messed up here. And so we ended up getting them, and I still have both of them. The one everybody knows is Lucy, short for Lucifer, because she's a monster. But she's got a reason to be. She's one of those. I have to open the door, and when I slide the glass, I have to literally extend this as far as it can go, because she shoots out at me, and then I have to throw the rabbit to her, and she'll catch it and wrap it, and then I can put her back in.
Damn, dude, that's
she's one of those.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh, that's crazy. Yeah,
it's so fun though.
I have a pied that's kind of crazy, but so I bought these cages, and it came with like a rack too, and I didn't get any. I had like all this extra space. I'm like, oh, well, might as well fill this rack up then. And then I one thing turned to the next. I was trying to find ball pythons, and then there's this guy who had a retake on his Facebook profile, and I kept asking him, I'm like, do you have retakes? Can you sell me your retakes? Because he had one proven female, and then he had another, like, I think I got 2 males and then 2 females. It was like a subadult female, which is my golden child. And I bought the golden child first from him, and then I go back and I bought like his cages, and I got the male, and then before I knew it, I bought all of his snakes because he was getting out of it. And that was kind of once, going from having like a 10-foot, retake to having like a snake that's significantly larger. That was a big game changer, cleaning up. Sorry, my wife just got here. Hey, babe.
Hi, guys.
But
Hi.
it was a big change, but I loved every minute of it. And you kind of get more into it. I started breeding rabbits, and then the collection just slowly has grown. Luckily, I had enough discernment that I didn't go out and buy a bunch of like, inexpensive morphs that, I did that with ball pythons, but I didn't do that with the retakes. So I don't have, I have a, 16 or so retakes, and, all of them, pretty much have a valuable role in my breeding projects. I've sold a couple that I haven't, that I kind of wanted to get rid of. And then so I ended up just, being really lucky. It was kind of sad though, because I sold one male. I would take him to shows, and he was like the calmest snake that I've ever seen. And it was like, you could literally like touch him, kiss him, hand him to kids. 2-year-olds, my wife was a nanny for a while, and the 2-year-olds would like hold the snake and they'd love it. And he was getting pretty big, and it was kind of a bummer selling that snake because it was such a good
educational
snake.
animal.
Yeah, exactly. But then getting into I kind of dabbled in. I do have a carpet python. It's a coastal carpet. So I went to a guy's house, and then I saw this giant. It's like a 6-foot cage that was 6 feet tall with 4x4. It was all glass, and there was this carpet python that was just perched up there, and they get pretty big, dude. Like they're not small. They look like a adult male retic almost. And so I got that for that reason. And as I started diving into the super dwarf kind of world, I haven't bred super dwarfs yet, but I think that's the direction that the retic industry is going. I don't really like the way that they're going, the way they're doing it. Certain breeders are pretty much bashing mainlands, saying they'll get 25 feet. And, dude, I don't have a 25-foot snake, and I don't think I ever will have a 25-foot snake. But I don't think everyone is equipped to even handle a retic, let alone, keep them as pets. So I can kind of see where they're coming from. But,
I feel like saying that it's gonna get 25 feet is like the best way people use to like deter people that aren't prepared. Like, is the best way for people to like really think, hey, is this something I really want? Like, is this something I'm gonna be able to handle by myself? This is something that could potentially be so large. Like, if I do this myself, could I potentially get hurt or something? Like, it's a good way to make people think. Now, granted, I don't think I've seen personally a 25-footer. Now, I know when I did a kind of, I don't want to say like a private tour or anything, but it was kind of was. But I was over there with Jay over there, Prehistoric Pets, and I did a couple of videos with him. And one of the main animals he pulled out was a golden child, and I think that one was like 23 foot ish. It was a big girl. Now, granted, she was fat. She was fat.
Yeah,
but
dude.
she was huge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big dude, and that snake made me look thin. No.
Yeah. I would love to have a snake that's like that big. I really would. But it's a lot of poop to get a snake. You feed it a goat, it's coming out one way or another. So, but the other thing about the kind of the super dwarfs is like, they're bashing these large snakes, and then yet, a snake that's, it just as easy to produce. They may be way more rare, but super dwarfs aren't cheap. So like trying to get someone to, you're trying to deter them, yet you're putting like a $3,000 price tag on some of these snakes. If you're lucky, $3,000. I get people want to make money, but it's, that's the one thing I don't necessarily like about it. That being said, I'm not going to go out there and charge, $500 for all of my, 50% super dwarf, het pied motley tigers or whatever. It's like, those are, I'm going to price them appropriately, but I will, I'll definitely kind of lean people, and I'll have projects that will be more like lower end, people can afford them more, just so I can actually get, you go to a show and people are like, do you have anything super dwarf? Do you have anything super dwarf? Do you have anything super dwarf? And I'm like, so I want to be able to help those people out as well. I'm not going to quit breeding mainlands by any means, but
so do you actually vet in shows and stuff?
Yeah, just local shows up here in Washington. Like I said, my first year of breeding snakes, I had like 3 retic clutches, and I sold all of them. It took me about a year to sell all of them, but it wasn't like they were all. It's not like they all laid the same time. They spread out from December to, or like, I guess they hatched in like February, April, and then in October. So from that like February to the following February, I sold all of them, and it was a good the first clutch was like 43 eggs, but I think I think there was a bunch of slugs in them, like not a ton. There was maybe I got 34 eggs out of it, 34 babies out of it, and then one of them developed cataracts, so I ended up euthanizing it. And then the other clutch I had, there was 33 eggs and 30 of them were good. And then the final clutch, it was 31, and they all hatched out. They were all good. And there was a couple snakes that I had that they kind of developed like weird like skull pattern, and it was because they were super phantoms, and like
okay.
it was like they had like a super phantoms an all white snake, and it was they had like a forehead that was like kind of the bone like extruded, and I ended up euthanizing those early. I don't think selling an animal that I don't think is going to thrive is like the best thing. So kind of as a breeder, I'm not I've
Not
seen
gonna put that out there.
yeah, not just put it out, but it's also it's like I'm pretty sure it would have had a bad life because it looked like kind of the start of a tumor or something, but I don't think it was a tumor, but it just looked bad. But one of my retic clutches, I actually looked in the egg, and like the first egg that pipped, or the first egg that I cut, I looked and it had red eyes, and I'm like, oh man, like because I'm used to looking at Jay's videos of like goofy like snakes that are like deformed and stuff. So that was my first reaction, because I didn't know there was albino in the mom, and then I ended up realizing it was an albino super phantom, which it's an all white snake with red eyes, and I thought that was super dope. I got 2 of those, and then I got this crazy paradox snake. I'll pull it out for you here. I don't know if you know what paradox are.
Yeah. This Burmese behind me is a Hypogranite Paradox.
Yeah. Let me flip the camera. Here, I guess I got to pull it out first. I can't flip the camera. Hold on.
No, so if you want to flip the camera, the way you have to do it is click more, and then it'll bring up options, and then you'll go bring up settings, and you go to settings, and then it'll say camera, and then you flip the camera. There you go. Oh, look at that! That is cool. Let's solo you out. Look at that. That is super dope.
When I got her, when she first hatched out, dude, I honestly thought she was the ugliest snake. I'm like, oh man, like what am I gonna do with this snake? And then like someone commented, they're like, nice paradox, and I'm like, I didn't really know what a paradox was, but yeah. Speaking of isopods, I do have like dwarf whites and springtails in here, so I do have some of them. She's just, I'm slow growing her. She's relatively small. She's in a 3-foot cage, but she's like, a year and a half now. So it's not like I'm feeding her heavy. I'm enjoying her, as much as I can in a small cage.
That's nice. Yeah, that's a beautiful animal.
Okay, let me back out of here. Yeah, so that was pretty cool, being able to experience having a just having like kind of hitting the jackpot. I got a super dope paradox, and then like super phantom albinos, which at the time those were worth like $3,500. And I kept the albino super phantom, and I sold all the other super phantoms except for one of them, because it started developing that forehead thing, and those were like $2,000. I did give one of them to my good friend though. He so it was like, I spent like $1,000 for the adult female, and I spent like $700 for the male. The cages were like $600, and then I made like 20 grand off of the clutch of eggs. So I was like super hyped about that for my first year. But retics, the morph market's weird because there's, I don't know if you post on Morph Market, but there's times where you'll get emails 3-4 times a day. Then there's times where you don't get emails for like 3 months, and it's kind of like going to the shows really helps supplement the snakes, and I was a little upset because this year, I sold out at my last expo I went to, and I had no more babies to sell, so I'm probably gonna come. I'm probably gonna do expos down there in Southern California when I move there. I'm gonna definitely try and ship, some of my snakes just so I could kind of stay plugged in with the community up here, because we all were close there. Invited a bunch of them to my wedding, and having a close community is pretty cool, especially in the reptile hobby. Like, my wife threw me a surprise party for my birthday, and like all these people come over. That's pretty much all I hang out with is snake people. So that's what I love about the hobby.
I hatched my first paradox this season, and I'm not even gonna lie, it was pretty exciting. That's awesome, Emily. You can just ship that over here. I don't even know what kind of paradox it is, but you just ship it over here. It's fine. I like paradox. um, but no, yeah, that's one thing I really like about this community is how tight knit everybody is, and how like close a lot of people are. Is like and for instance, like I tell everybody on here, like I'm close with people that are states away, and in this community that I'm more close with them than I am a lot of my own family. Like I consider some people that are Florida, Illinois, a lot of different places. I consider them more family than family that live in the same state or live in different states. They talk. It's insane. How awesome this community is, and like how well everybody kind of comes together. Compared to other communities when it comes to keeping exotics.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, it's especially with the big snakes. People just in general. Like I do construction, and I meat clients. A lot of these clients are pretty successful, and I've heard stuff like, are you crazy? Like when I tell them I breed snakes, and it's like, like that's in this group of people that you're around, we all like reptiles, whether it's one species or another species. It's they all interest me. So just kind of being able to go to other people's collections and see stuff that you don't really take care of, but you like respect it, and being able to like experience, seeing them. Like we have a event up here. It was called Carpet Fest Northwest, and I don't have any carpet pythons. I didn't at the time. Well, maybe I did, but there's all these different localities. I'm not going to dive into that, but being able to like really get a look at like what's going on in that community that was really sweet for me to experience too.
For sure. And that's one reason I really like doing these interviews with people and starting to take it more doing lives. Because before I used to do these interviews at expos with people. And so doing them live, I feel it's less rushed, and because when you go to an expo, you're more there to sell and meet some people, but you're not really there for, I don't want to say for social interaction that much, like just for YouTube or videos and stuff. You're more there for trying to meet people, explain or talk about your animals, things like that, and kind of like sales, to help put back what you spent into the expo.
Yeah, I mean, like that's another thing, going to California, like it'll be, I don't know how the expos are there, but I think there's a lot more, there's definitely a lot more there than I think there are in Washington. Because there's like, I want to say there's two Puyallup ones, a Portland and Hillsboro, Oregon one, and then there's the Monroe one. And I've done, and then the Spokane one, I'm not going to go back to that one just because I went there and it was just kind of a waste of time, to be honest. I got to hang out with people, but everybody got bad sales, and it was mostly like people that just wanted to look at the animals, so it wasn't really people that were buying, which, when it comes down to it, yeah, when it comes down to it, like I wanna at least make it worth the trip. You know, if you're driving somewhere, getting a hotel, all that. Which I did. I broke even, or I made a little, like, you know, a couple $100, like $700-800, but still, you know, it's really cool being able to, you know, spend your money, you know, spend your time doing something you enjoy, and then actually like making money from it. You know, like with my business doing construction, it's like, sure, I like it, but it's not as fun as breeding reptiles. You know what I mean? It's still kind of a job. You know, if I had to, if I ran into a bunch of money, you know, I would quit doing the construction. You know, if I ran into a bunch of money, I wouldn't quit doing the snakes. You know, I'd keep you know, doing what I'm doing. I'd actually spend more time with the snakes. So that's what's really dope about it.
Oh, I think you froze again.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
There you are. No, you're good. You're good. I know how it is having terrible internet. I get that a lot. I'm actually having to use data. I can't run this and do Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is worse than McDonald's. It's like Dollar General Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So I definitely get the whole lag thing.
Yeah, it's annoying because I freaking
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, well, like what these internet companies do, like they it happens like, you know, I pay for the like 150 gig megabyte or whatever, like a really fast plan. I think it's like 250 megabytes, but you know, every like 4 to 8 months the internet stops working. Like I'll be watching, like I'll be streaming a show on my TV and it'll keep freezing, and I've been noticing that's been happening in the last 3 days. And what you need to do, you need to call the internet provider and tell them, oh, I'm having problems. They're like, okay, I'll reset it. We'll do a reset from our end, and then it fixes the problem. I'm like why why is that even a thing?
Yeah, I have to do that all the time, and it sucks. I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the middle of the desert. So we have like 2 internet providers out here, and they both suck. Like we've got CenturyLink or what is the other one? Triad, and they're both terrible. Like just no matter what plan you get, it's just awful.
Have you looked into the Elon Musk? I think it's called Starlink. Is that online?
I don't know. I know there was a few satellite ones that people were supposed to be looking into, like HughesNet and something else. There's a few things people were going to look into. I haven't heard anything about it yet.
Because Starlink, I don't know if it's like, I think it's Starlink. I think they've been launching satellites up, and because one of my dad's friend, I think, lives in the middle of nowhere, and they didn't even have like CenturyLink or whatever you said, like Cox Cable or whatever.
Triad,
yeah. But I think he lives in Arizona and he gets internet from Starlink. I don't know if it's better than what you're doing. Probably not.
Right.
But, you know.
So how long have you been keeping reptiles?
Well, like I said, when I had the green iguana when I was younger, that ended up dying, and then let's see, probably like what year is it? So it's 2022. Right at the end of 2018, I started getting either end of 2018 or beginning of 2019. So it hasn't been too long. Like I said, I started with a retic, then I got some balls. It kind of happened really quickly. Honestly, it did, because it's so low maintenance that, like, taking care of, 15 snakes, I felt like I could get more, so I got more. And then, adding a ball python, you get an ARS rack, you can fill that up. You have babies, keep some of them. So it's been, most of my like expensive snakes are 2019 and 2020 babies. I have like I got this retic. My retics that are breeders. Those ones are so one of them was a proven breeder that I got. The other one I raised up. You know, I fed her quickly, and then the other one I got her. When I got her, she was inside a 4-foot enclosure, barely. I don't know how the lady kept her in there, but it was actually, I got her from the daughter, or she's the daughter of my really big snake. And this guy, he like had a girlfriend, and they ended up breaking up, but she kept one of the babies, and she left for the military or something, so I ended up buying it. Come to find out, it was like the daughter of this other one. So it's kind of cool having 3 generations of snakes in my possession. But yeah, that is
actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I got most of my animals in 2020 though.
So it'd be safe to say you've been doing this for about 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, out of the favorite animals or like the favorite species you work with, what would be your favorite morph that you're currently working on, or just favorite morph in general?
Okay. For retics, it's gosh, it's hard to say. Like it's what the ones that I own, I really like caramel, which is I can't remember, like T positive albino. I can't remember which one it has, like, but it's the caramel gene for my retics. That's definitely my favorite retic morph I'm working with. Caramel motley specifically, like the way they kind of interact with each other, change pattern up, clean up the sides, put a dope head stamp on it. And then for like all around retic morphs, I really like, well, of course I like the ocelot gene. I don't know if you've heard of that one. The snakes go for like 25-30 grand for a single gene ocelot. So I don't think
I've ever heard of it, but it sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah, Jay calls it the rainbow, I think, and then Slither calls it the Arsoris. It's like Spanish for rainbow. But Ocelot, I'd consider Ocelot its own kind of gene, because the guy who really kind of like is taking that market over, his name's Aubrey Pruitt, and he's selectively bred the Ocelot to look, really magnificent. And he actually, like last year, he produced a caramel ocelot, which is like the pinnacle, snake for like mainland retics right now. And that snake's just phenomenal. Which, I think a single gene ocelot, honestly, I like it a little bit more than the caramel, just because it's such a crazy snake. But, otherwise, for the green anacondas, like, people like Megaconda, she's a big green anaconda breeder. She kind of lines breeds them to look really green. And I have one of her productions, and it's definitely a really green snake. And initially I really liked the green, but I've gotten lucky enough that, two of my 4 green anacondas have a lot of like the yellow and orange, like an orange mask, and they're really kind of like.
I saw the one you held earlier, and that one had a really like defined orange on them, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of people tell me that, so I'm kind of looking forward to holding back some of that strong orange color, and see if I can go kind of the opposite direction of her. Which is kind of funny, because she posted one of her male snakes, and someone commented on it, and they're like, nice orange mask, and she literally took offense to it. And I'm like, she's not offending you, man. Like, just because you're known for green snakes doesn't mean doesn't mean that you're not like, you know, there it's still a beautiful animal. But I'm gonna go that direction with the green anacondas. And for ball pythons, I'm just, you know, I'm looking to stack some cool like genes with you know, recessives with clown. I really like the clown gene. So for my boa projects, I like the blood gene a lot. My buddy's giving me a breeder loan for he's giving me like a sun dragon, like a jungle sun dragon. So I'm, you know, going to pair that to all my snakes, make some cool hets, and, you know, give them half of them. But that'll be the direction I take for that. I think the sun dragon, I don't know. Do you know what the sun dragon boas look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are like the hypo in there. They're freaking crazy. But yeah, I'm really hoping I hit the lottery with that paradox, because I've never seen a paradox that quite has the pattern like that, where a lot of the times it's a lot more dispersed, and it's not like the whole body isn't like pixelated like that. So if I'm lucky, maybe
I really like that paradox.
Yeah, maybe if I'm lucky, I'm not saying I will, but that'd be amazing if it could like do if it had like you know, some kind of genetic, you know, thing that was linked to that pattern. Probably not, but I think that'd be dope.
Oh, that would be really cool. That's something to attempt to prove out. That'd be really cool.
Yep, it's a female, so I'll yeah, we'll see what happens though. And then for my tarantulas, I like my Venezuelan sun tiger the most.
I got those. Got a ton of those. Those are a pain in my ass. What they are. They're wicked quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have an OBT? Do you have an
I wonder
OBT?
if it's me that's lagging.
I think it is you, dude.
It might be. You know what? You're right. It might be me lagging, dude. I'm dropping between 3 to 1 bar. It may be me lagging. I'm over here blaming you. That's my bad.
It may have been me earlier, but
yeah. Who knows? Could be combined.
do you have an
I've got some OBTs. I've got OBT. I've got one big male left, and I'm sending that to Quentin down there in the there he is right there. That guy.
Nice.
Sorry, my kids. I don't know what compelled her to have her run in here and yell that she didn't go poop. Kids. Yeah, my last OBT is actually going to Venomous down there. He's taking one of those, a salmon pink bird eater, a Vietnamese centipede, and I think that's it for now. I think that's all he was taking for now. I've got a ton of different scorpions and stuff.
That's badass, dude. Yeah, they're crazy, man. They're so like, I don't know. I think if people want to get like a low maintenance pet, you know, for a kid, getting them a tarantula would be like really good, because they're so easy to take care of, dude. That it's like they're you know, not an old world like my OBT is freaking sketchy just trying to feed it because it'll try and dart out. But maybe like I've got a Brazilian black. Yeah, I've got a Brazilian black, and you know that thing. You know, if you could give that to,
I love those.
Yeah, it's super. They call them, you know, when it was younger, it tried flicking.
One of my most recommended to people is the Arizona blonde or desert blonde.
Oh yeah,
because those are like super docile. what's a good beginner? That would be the Arizona Blonde. Very forgiving tarantula, not super wicked quick, and it's more of a terrestrial, doesn't really like to climb much. So the chances of you putting it in a tank and then it climbing up the glass to dart out is very slim. But as to where like the Venezuelan sun tiger or a pink toe or something, you open the lid and that thing is gone.
Do the blondes like bulldoze their cage that much, or are they pretty clean?
They're pretty clean, but they like making like one big hole in one area. So like if you give them like a good hide and like partly submerge it in the substrate, they're good to go.
That's cool.
Like that's it. They won't even dig anymore. They'll web it out a little bit, do their thing inside, and then like they'll leave a little bit of web to help them catch their prey around the enclosure, but that's it. It's nothing like the GGB or the green bottle blue, or the sun tigers or any like the freaking OBT, freaking that thing. I just put it in this deli cup so I could ship it because it's a big male. Nice. And I think I can barely. If he wasn't orange, I wouldn't be able to see him because he has webbed the entire thing.
That's crazy. That's cool though.
And it's a little deli cup, and he's webbed the entire thing. It's freaking nuts. How he gets through it, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the only thing about my Brazilian black. You know, if you spend all this time like making it look super clean, putting up little plastic plants, you know, within a week, it's all, you know, rearranged. So that's the only thing that I'd kind of steer people away from that, but it's, you know, it's not a lot of work to put it back together, you know.
Yeah, I put him in the other one. I went to see if he was in that shelf, but he's not. I put him in the other shelf. That one's all scorpions. Yeah, I got a lot of different scorpions. I like the scorpions. They crack me up when they eat, because then it's always like some of the species, like the African fat tails, they like grabbing multiple prey items. So like you'll see that in one pincher it's got one, and then or one cricket, and then the other pincher it's got another cricket, and then it's sitting there with both freaking like eating another cricket in its mouth. So it's like triple cricket in its mouth. There's one I call Psycho, and that one, he will literally skewer a cricket and then he'll keep it on his stinger until he's ready to eat it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
He's weird. It was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen out of all the scorpions we've had. He just holds it like a trophy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bad. That's badass. But yeah, man,
I like the tarantulas and scorpions.
Yeah, I used to breed rabbits for my retakes, like I was talking about, and dude, freaking breeding rabbits, it's harder than breeding retakes. It's harder than breeding ball pythons. You know, it's like you got to be really attentive to them. Like for me, like you just got to make sure you know what's going on. Like exactly, you got to put the nest box in at the right time. You got to figure out what they like in their nest box. Otherwise, they're gonna, you know, either kill the babies or not nest in it, or, you know, something like that. And it was like, once I kind of got the hang of it, you know, there was a period of time where I had like 60 rabbits, dude. It was like a lot of work, man. Yeah. And then
I had like 6 rabbits, and that was just a pain.
Yeah. And what was hilarious was I had a chicken coop I got on like Amazon. I got it for free because I like did this stupid thing where you like put a review on Amazon and then like they send it to you for free. So, but I did that and I put hardware cloth on the bottom. But the problem was the rabbits were able to like squeeze their way out of the door. And there was like, I had at least, you know, 20 to 25 rabbits that escaped. And they were like living there, dude. They were in the neighborhood. Like you'd pull into my house, you'd see a rabbit on the other side of the road. You see a rabbit underneath the cars and the lawn. And like, I've got 3 dogs, and like these dogs love chasing rabbits, and they can kind of differentiate a wild rabbit versus not. But dude, you're trying to take them to go pee in the morning, they see a rabbit running across the street. Where do you think they're going? It's like, so it's, yeah, but like I learned how to trap them. Initially, I bought those like metal cages, and then I wasn't really having much success with it. And then I pretty much read online, or I was watching a YouTube video. He said make sure it doesn't rattle or move at all when they get in it, and then put it in like put brush over it so it's more of a cave. I just put it on flatter ground and put a garbage bag over it. I was catching rabbits every day, and I got most of them back. There were a few of them that like no matter what I do, I have those feeding tongs where it's like a handle and you squeeze it and it like pinches shut, but it's longer. How I really do it, like if I could see them, I'd get it and I'd like pin it behind their neck, pinch them, and then you got to be quick about it. But this one rabbit, dude, I could not catch it for freaking like I couldn't catch it. Like it was way too fast, and that freaking thing, it was in the neighborhood for a good like 8 to 9 months. Survived all winter out there, and I don't know if it got killed. I don't know if it got killed by a hawk or got hit by a car or just found a new home. But dude, yeah, that thing, I figured if it could escape me, then it could, it kind of, it's rite of passage to the wild, dude. It's, but yeah, so the rabbits were, I got overwhelmed with my job and then taking care of the animals. It's daily, as opposed to the reptiles. You can not go into the room for 3 or 4 days and nothing's wrong. But for the rabbits, you gotta look at them every morning, every day. You got to feed them constantly. You don't want to overfeed them. You got to make sure they're breeding right. And it just was that was a lot of work, dude. Plus they poop, like all mammals, they poop so much, dude. It's I was shoveling it up. So
I bought 10 from a lady that was just getting rid of a ton of them, and we started breeding them and trying to do like what we could to try to put back, because we had the big boas at the time, and then we had the Burmese and the retics. So I was like, let's start putting back. I was like, and then also I was trying to get everything from switching over from chickens, because I don't know if you fed chicken to any of your bigger snakes, but it smells from high hell like 10 times worse than rodents and rabbits. I don't know why, but chicken after it comes out of a reptile just reeks.
yeah.
Like when they go to the bathroom like that, the instant they're going, it just hits different. But yeah, we were breeding those, and I had to put them on top of bricks. I used like an old chicken hutch that had like the little top deck to come down, and then they come down in like the open area. And I put them on bricks because they poop so much, so that way the poop would fall through the bottom, and then I could like rake it out of there, out of the bottom of it. And that worked for a little while, but because of our heat, they just started dropping like flies.
Yeah, Arizona. That's my fear about breeding rats, in California, because my wife wants to have kids. So, we'll have if we have a roommate, it makes the cost of living a lot less, and there's 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, so we could make a roommate work. But if we have a kid and, the kid wants, I want to have it in its bedroom. I don't really want to have a crib in my room. So
don't do it, kids and traps, bro. I got 2. No, I'm just kidding.
But so like I'm like, all right, so I'm either gonna like take over the, initially, like when I was less wanting to go to Bakersfield, California, she was like, yeah, you can put retics in the living room, like, and you can put it. I'm like, really? I'm like, all right, sweet. And now like we're married, and it's like a good. She's like, I want people over. I'm like, exactly. They get to enjoy them too. I'm like, where am I? So I don't know if I'm gonna, if I'm like, ideally, I'd like to have the snakes in the house, and then the rodents in the garage. But I might end up converting the garage into just, it's a detached garage, running a couple circuits, doing the floor, putting some lights in there, and then having like a dedicated reptile room with all my snakes. And that'd be like really cool.
That'd be cool.
I think having that would be like kind of ideal, just because it's having it just be dope, having a stack of 8 foot, a stack of 6 foot, a stack of 4 foot cages just all in one space. Because right now I'm kind of confined in my room. I've got to like kind of maneuver to get to my 4 foot cages. And so we'll see what happens. But if I'm breeding rodents there, and it's they're not in the house, which I get. I totally get it. Not wanting to have the house smell like rats. You probably get it more than I do. So, but buying like a shed, buying like a shed, and then putting like an AC in it, and then like, so I was looking at swamp coolers today. It's like, you're like $2,500 in, and that's like, and I $2,500. How many months could I, feed my collection, spending that, so it's all kind of pros and cons. I'm kind of weighing the options if I'm even going to breed it, because if I'm spending, $350 a month extra on air conditioning just to keep it cool, because it's 115 degrees outside, it doesn't really make sense when I can
depending on where in California you're going. Most California doesn't get over 100, or average doesn't normally get over 100. Arizona's where you're starting to get into the 115s area. I mean, hell, when I came back from California, I went from 78 degrees to 111, and it was just insane.
Yeah. Bakersfield's hot. It's not Arizona heat, but it's definitely like, I'd say it's definitely warmer than LA, because you're more in the desert, like Fresno, I think, is the area, kind of like near Fresno. So we'll see.
What's up, Billy?
I'm gonna just weigh the different options about if I'm gonna breed them, or like I might just what I had success here doing with the rodents was, I just bought this really strong drum fan and I just blew it at my racks, and it was enough airflow that it didn't, like, they continued breeding. And there's a carport, if I just close off the carport so birds can't eat the rat food, and then keep a couple racks, because but if I find a supplier, I'm starting to research. If you know any suppliers down in California that sells high production rodents, let me know, man, because I'm definitely in the market for that.
I might know one or two. I'll hit up a couple people and look for you for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
So what is your most anticipated pairing this season or this year?
This year, oh gosh, that's freaking hard, man. Like, it's I have a pied retic. She's a beautiful pied. She was the meanest snake I've ever had, but now I think she's kind of mellowed out a little bit. I'm pairing her to my Coyote male, which will be so they'll be 50% motley, and she's possible tiger. You can't really tell because with the pieds, their head turns yellow, but she's the type of pied that has an all white head, so there's no real way. There are like kind of yellowish markers going down her. I have a feeling she is tiger, but if not, I think having het pied super dwarfs would be freaking dope, dude. And then
that would be pretty cool
for my retics. And then probably for like, I'm really looking forward to it, if I can actually get this green anaconda to cycle this year again, and hatching green anaconda babies. I can show you, let me show you the enclosure for her that I've set.
Fungus Queen, what up?
But yeah, she's I breed them in water. And it was like a freaking action movie when because I paired the female in there, and I had I cleaned it a couple days ago, but she's already peed in the water. Let me see. Settings.
You
Camera.
gotta love that. Anytime they get any reptile gets in water, they're bound to pee in something.
You can see her. That's her head. Yeah. So this is my green anaconda. Her name's Nikki. You know, I'm really looking forward to breeding her again. But when I first paired them, so I had a small male that was over there. He was just chilling. I bring the big male that you saw. He goes in there, goes in the water, kind of checks her out, slides through the water, goes over there. As soon as he sees the male over there, he starts bucking. And within 5 seconds, he pulled her tail out of it and was locked. And then he was like bucking the male over there. And he was like bucking the male over there. And that was, so they're definitely ready.
Hey, I mean, if you have babies, dude, let me know. I need some greens in my life.
Yeah, you will know, dude. This is my my Psychopide retake. She's beautiful.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That is awesome. Look at that face.
Yeah, I don't want to get too close to her. She's like I said, but see how her head's all white like that. And then she's just got this insane. Oh yeah, look, she's not digging that.
I was like, I know that position too well.
Yeah. Don't want to.
The one down here does that. The golden child. Actually, she's looking at me now. Always put the mean ones at the bottom. That way, it's easier to deal with them. I swear.
Yeah, there's a reason I put her in an 8-foot enclosure, because it's like, I'm doing spa cleaning and she'll chase after me, dude. It's much easier when it's in a bigger enclosure and she doesn't get it dirty as quick.
Mitzi. I know I meant to say hi to you earlier, Mitzi, when you were here. I put your comment on the screen so that way you knew I was here, and I waved, but I didn't say hi. But I always say hi to you, Mitzi. Also, Mitzi, your shirt shipped either yesterday or the day before, but it did ship. So be on the lookout. Your shirt is on its way. Like this one, these are 6 foot by 2 by 2s. And well, actually 2.5. But yeah. And then this one above me has an albino, het labyrinth, het green, Burmese, and then that's a male. And then he's somewhat like 50-50. He's all bluff. Like he talks a lot. He'll body check you. And for those that don't know what body check is more of like he'll throw his coil at you to like push you off to scare you. And then this one is a Hypogranite female Burmese, and then I've got the golden child het purple at the bottom here. And she's the one that hates my guts. She will take a pop at me every chance she gets. One day she was actually playing really nice, and so I was holding her with my left arm, and I'm holding her up, and I'm cleaning her enclosure, and I'm spot cleaning, and just making sure everything looks nice. And while I'm doing that, I feel her tense up and really crush my hand in my wrist area. And I was like, this is going to end bad. And she didn't decide to bite my arm. She was going for the face. So she's like shooting at me, trying to bite me. And I've got really long arms. I'm 6'1". And so I've got long arms. And she's not too big. She's maybe about 6 foot, maybe. About 5 foot. She's not too long. But she's solid, and she's sitting there just shooting at my face, but she's like just barely missing. So I was able to get her off.
Yeah.
I had to, like, when she went to strike me, I had to catch her head and like get her to stop. Like it was almost bad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, seriously, man. Like I quit drinking. I'm sober now, but like for a while it was getting kind of bad, or I'd be getting like, pretty drunk, and I'd go in my snake room, start cleaning. And when I had this breeder male, I ended up selling him to a guy that's local here. And there was one day I was like cleaning, I remember, and I didn't like shut the enclosure all the way. And this male, like, especially it was like breeding season. So he's like not the most nice snake, and he wants to light you up every time he sees movement, striking the cage and stuff like that. I remember like I was just like, I go up, I stand up because I was like squatted down, then I stand up and his face is like inches from me and he's just looking at me, and I'm like that's it. I'm like I can't clean the snakes being drunk anymore. So I'm like, I didn't want to get bit my nose off, dude. That'd be the worst thing. Go to the ER, frickin', you get a freaking snake bite on your face, dude. That's embarrassing, man.
Right. Yeah,
Even
that was
even
my thing. I had a monitor nick me in the eye once. It was totally my fault. I was letting her climb and she was sitting here and she was chill. Well, all of a sudden the mangrove went from like 0 to like speed of Sonic and like shot up my face. Well, as she shot up my face, her hands were up here, but her back feet were down here. One grabbed behind my head, the other one, she went and grabbed my eye, and she just nicked it with her nail. And she scratched my eye. And, dude, it looked like I had pink eye or something. It was nuts. She actually cut the film towards the bottom of my eye, under the eyelid. And my eye like went into like super protective mode or something and started like creating some weird jelly looking stuff. It was gross. It was horrible. Everybody was making fun of me for like a whole week. It sucked. Yeah. It royally sucked.
What kind of monitor was it?
Mangrove. She was super chill, but she likes getting high. Like she likes getting like super high up. And most times she stays off my head, but that day, she's just like, nope, I'm going to fly on top of your head. And she gave like 0 warning that she was going to do it. She just jumped. And when she landed, she just held on to whatever like it was between her legs. And it happened to just be the back of my ear and my freaking eyeball. And it sucked because I had to like move her claw out of my eye because I didn't want to like freak out and like rip her off and like really mess up my eye. So I had to like move her claw out of my eye and pull that out and then get her off of me. Oh, it was nuts, dude. Everybody around me was freaking out. They're all, you already got eye problems. Now you're going blind. You're gonna lose the eye. I was like, I can still see out of it, kinda. Like, it was bad. Man. It was nuts, though. But
that's the claws, dude. They're like, subtle but deadly, dude. Especially,
for sure.
Our eyes are so, they're so fragile. So I'm glad you ended up making a full recovery. I'm assuming from that, dude. That could. I
appreciate that. It sucked. Like it made some weird. They said it was like what it was creating was like a weird paste. And it was to help heal my eye. But what it did was it went into overdrive and it shut my eyeball. Like it basically created a film over the eye to heal it and protect it from like other bacteria and stuff. So it like created a scab over the eye. It was nuts. I looked like, I don't want to say I looked like Igor, but I was like flipping switches saying yes, massa and stuff. Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
Like it freaking sucked. Hey. No, nobody got out. That was Aunt Casey's cage and it broke. There's dirt everywhere. I know. I gotta vacuum that up.
Say hi.
You want to come say hi to everybody? Come here. Here, say hi.
Hi.
What's up, little man? What's your name?
My name Bubby.
Your name, Bubby?
Mm-hmm.
This is my son, Lucian.
Lucian. Who's up there?
Baby tortoise.
But it's going to see that baby tortoise up there.
I put him up there.
Why?
Because that's where I put him.
He's going to run away and get out.
He's going to get out of a locked cage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And poof, he's going to use his shell. Poof, it comes out. And then Mama tortoise going to wash her. Like baby tortoise.
Okay.
And he's going with her. Like I said. What is a baby tortoise? Tortoise are kids.
Okay. Yeah. You just went on a whole rant about it. All right. Go to your mom.
That's what I love about kids.
Love you.
They have an
Alright, go.
imagination.
Wait, Dad.
Like,
That baby.
yes, it's chameleon shoe. Go.
Chair.
Oh, a ton of dinosaurs. Mitzi's go out for dinosaurs.
Yeah, I like
Apologize if you
berms.
guys
I
can
like
hear the.
berms a
Yeah, I
lot.
was gonna say, I'm sorry if you guys can hear the bird. It's a sever macaw. He's trying to get somebody's attention in that room, and if he doesn't get his way, he starts yelling. So I apologize for that. He's out of my. He's not my animal. He's out of my control. Boy, that sucks. Though, if a retic gets out, no, I'm just kidding. Um, so if you had all the permits, all the experience, money wasn't a factor, the chance to work with one or a pair of any reptile, whether it's snake, lizard, turtle, tortoise, anything, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one, dude. I mean, if money wasn't really an issue, I mean, say I had like an extra like hour every day that I could take care of them, I'd love to get like like crocodile monitors, man. I think, but like, not have
My
the, like,
guy.
but I'd like to, like, I'm a builder, and like I could imagine, instead of having like an outdoor enclosure, because I can't move to Florida because of like the snakes I have. So I can imagine like, cracking the slab of my house and putting like a tree in there, like planting a tree in there, and having like a whole room, like, with like, tree and like bioactive and like cool lights and like paint the walls and stuff. Or I would do like just tile everything and make it like a really fancy like tile, and then have like different like architectural like accents and stuff. They climb up, doing something like that for a croc monitor, dude. That's that being said, I'm not, getting a water monitor like these coming eye, the yellow heads that I really want to get. That's not a huge like, that's not very far off from where I stand now. Getting the enclosure set up how I want it to might be a little bit of a stretch, but doing that, otherwise, like, I'd like to work with, one of my spiritual mentors. He's a Gila monster breeder and beaded lizard breeder, and I love to getting like, a couple pairs of those going. He breeds a lot of them, dude. I think he's the biggest venomous lizard breeder in the world. And so I might ask him if he's gonna sell any, to me, and see what, if that goes anywhere. But I'm like, I'm in love with the green anacondas, man, and the retics, dude. Being able to keep them and getting them, like, I think having the ability to house them so I could get them to like, 20 feet. I think that like appropriately, instead of unhealthy, being able to do that would be, I think, another dream of mine. But probably croc monitors is my answer to that.
That would be awesome. I love croc monitors. I'm looking for young croc monitors to actually get and work with. Um, but it's so hard trying to find them within a reasonable price range.
I've just kind of settled to the fact that they cost like $8,000 each.
I know we let me know when you produce some greens, man. I'm excited for those for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, dude, I don't think she had enough size on her last year. I saw her swell up. So what I ended up doing with breeding them, like I keep them in water, or I keep her in water, the female. And when I was doing water changes, so I bought a separate plastic, I call it a tub, but it's like a 75-gallon basin. I fill it with water, put a fish tank heater in it, heat it up to like 80 degrees, or I think I had it like 81 or 82 degrees. And then once that was heated up, then I'd drain the other one, pump the water in there so that she wouldn't reabsorb from like getting shocked with cold. I when I changed her water this weekend, I just put, a hose in there, and I'm not tripping about that because it'll warm up within, 12, 15 hours. So I wasn't concerned about that. But, with now, she was picky at first. Like, I was breeding rabbits, and she wasn't a huge fan of that. And she's been eating pigs for me, man. And she's been eating them more consistently than she's ever eaten rabbits and guinea pigs. So if I can, give her another, another 10 to 12 pigs before this, this fall, I think that'll be definitely like, that'll be killer, man. Like, so I'm just trying to give her a pig a week, dude, and see what happens, dude. So I also think getting her kind of started on breeding the first time, getting her body to like fully cycle, I think that kind of turned her onto food a little bit too, because she went off of food. She didn't eat from like October until like, I want to say maybe May or June. Like, so she was off food for a while, dude. And maybe it was like April that she started eating again. Regardless, it was disheartening because she started swelling. She was swelling after she got this giant thing, and then it just went down. So I was like, fuck, man. But it was interesting watching like every stage of the process, because she went from cold seeking, where she was literally hugging the side, like out of the water, hugging the side of the enclosure. Then she'd go to being on like the warm side, where she was like completely basking. And this is a snake that spends 98% of her time in the water, and 99% of the time in the water. So it's like being able to watch her kind of change where she was going. I have something I can kind of track. I think my temperatures were good. There's not really a lot of information on how to breed them, especially in water. So we'll see.
Right.
I was just looking.
Most times when I hear or see anacondas breeding, or green anacondas, I should say, most of the time, I think almost always it was in the water.
Yeah.
And it was just putting them together and letting them do their thing, and of course after cycling and everything like that. But it was just putting them together and seeing what happens, whether the male was even interested in the female, or the female was even interested in raising her tail enough for the male to get up under there. It was all the course of the variation between the two that you're trying to put together. But yeah, almost all breedings that I've seen or even talked to people about, it's almost always in the water. So it's pretty awesome that you're working with those and actually trying to breed them. So I'm hoping that you produce some, because I mean, hell, I'm excited. I love greens. I'm not a huge fan of the yellows or the hybrids between the yellow and greens. I think they're cool, but like me personally, keeping them wise, I'm more leaning towards the green anacondas than the yellows.
Yeah, the guy. I don't know. Have you heard of Revision Reptiles?
Who?
Revision Reptiles.
I don't think so.
So I met him at Carpet Fest up here. He flew in. I can't remember where he lives, but he has some yellow anacondas that are like freaking, like, they look really cool, dude. Like, they're honestly, like, out of all the snakes produced in like 2021, or yeah, I guess it's 21 that he produced them. The pattern on them was so freaking crazy, dude. It looked like what are those, like the jungle carpet pythons, where it was like yellow and black. It's like really bright yellow. He's gotten
zebras.
Yeah, zebras. Yeah, that's what, dude. But he some of his he's produced are really crazy. He actually has do you know what elephant trunk snakes are?
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that are mostly in the water, right?
Yeah, he actually has like a crazy setup for elephant trunk snakes, and I think he's trying to breed them too. I think he has a couple pairs of them, man, and he's got this crazy fish pond in there, and he feeds them fish and stuff. And so it'd be worth looking up Revision Reptiles just so you could follow what he's doing with those elephant
Yeah,
snakes.
I'll have to check them out. We were actually looking at because I do wholesale and stuff, and I get stuff. I could work with a lot of the importers and stuff, and there's one that or frequently gets elephant trunks, and they sell them fairly. I don't want to say fairly cheap, but wholesale cheap. And I always see them, and I'm always thinking, I want one because they just look cool. And I've seen some videos of them, like how people keep them in the fish tanks and stuff, and how they have it set up. And I really like it. I'm just thinking, like, I do rack systems, I do tubs. I'm like, I'm not. I mean, I work with fish. I like Oscars and stuff, so I know how to like do all that with the plumbing and everything. But when you're trying to do aquatic snake, that's a whole new venture for me.
Yeah, it's getting going to the bathroom one time will throw off all your chemicals or whatever you're doing.
Oh, for sure. That was my thing. I was like, like there was one show I remember my wife and a lot of people tagged me in, and it was what was it? Fish Kings or something like that. I don't know. They made tanks for people. Oh, it was tanked. It was tanked on Animal Planet, and they would build fish tanks for stuff for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd also like to get a what are they called? Cayman lizards.
Sorry, what was that?
This is Brody. He's my good dog. Have you heard of Cayman lizards? They're like I think they're called Cayman lizards. They have like an orange head with a green body, and they swim in water.
Oh yeah, Cayman lizard. Sorry, you're cutting out on my end. So yeah, Cayman lizard. Yeah, we have caimans.
You have caimans?
Yeah, we keep them outside.
Are they wild caught?
Yeah, mine are imports.
Have people bred them? So
people have bred them, but it's not super common that people have bred them. It's still really hard to get them to do it. I've heard of a few people successfully doing it. I myself have a 1.2, so I've got a male and 2 females that I'm raising up. But like I said, they're imports. They're still young too. They're juvenile. The male's probably ready, but the females aren't.
Yeah, Brody, go lay down. Go lay down, Brody. Yeah, dude, I'm a little nervous about getting imports just because I've heard horror stories. I know like some animals like Cayman lizards, like you said, they haven't really been bred a whole lot. So it'd be kind of hard to even like find a captive bred one, So I can't imagine.
I mean, there's some people in Florida that I know that have successfully bred Cayman lizards. And it's the same like with the Mata turtles. There's not a very many people that have successfully bred Mata turtles. I got lucky. I keep 2 in a pond, or I keep 1.2 in a pond. But mine just randomly had babies one day. I just saw random babies pop up, crawling around and floating in the water, and I thought it was just cool as hell.
I'm gonna Google Mata turtles real quick.
They are basically kind of like the common snapping turtle, but they have like a really like flat shaped head. It looks like a leaf.
Yeah, those are crazy.
And they always look like they have a huge smile on their face.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they're cool watching them eat because they eat fish, of course. And when they open their mouth, they create like a vortex, and they like suck the fish into their mouth, and it's like gone like that. It's super cool.
That is badass, dude. Yeah, I can't say like, I like if I had like a bunch of property and I had like, an outdoor yard and temperature wasn't really an issue, I could see myself getting some like sulcata tortoises just to let them roam around, you know. But turtles and like I feel like turtles, man, they're like, I think they're more of an outdoor animal, you know, like at least, you know, the bigger
Oh,
ones.
for sure.
Yeah, tortoises. So living there
See,
in Arizona,
I like sulcatas. They're just destructive as hell.
my dad's a guy who works for him. He had like his neighbor had this, I think it was a sulcata, and it was it kept on like breaking down their fence and like coming into his yard because he liked his yard more. And the guy was like, he's like, hey man, you should just give it to me, you know. He doesn't really want to hang out there. He's like, oh, I'll give him to you for like, you know, I think he said like $1,000. He's like, no, I'm not gonna pay for that. And then like the next day, the turtle broke the fence down again and ended up in his yard. And he's like, all right, you can have him. So he has a turtle, and this is a totally non-reptile guy. You know, he's kind of just a bachelor, you know, but he has a giant turtle or tortoise that hangs out in his yard. He lives in Arizona too, so it's, you know, warm enough that he lets him inside. I know now, but it's yeah.
This is one we just produced from a het albino to a het albino. Sadly, we came home and we had an incubator issue. I won't get too much into that, but yeah, this one came out cool. He's got like a really cool pattern in the back. He's still healing up from the umbilical.
Yo, okay. Cool. What is that one?
This is a Sulcata Hatchling, just hatched out. This dude's not even a day old.
Wow.
Just hatched out. He's still healing from the umbilical, and that'll completely seam up. You won't ever notice it afterward.
You bred it?
Yep. Yeah, breed them.
That's cool, man. Do they lay eggs and then you incubate them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so they lay eggs and then they let me fix the layout. There we go. So they lay eggs and then they incubate in the ground. Now, the reason that I pulled these ones was they were actually laid on a fence line because the female broke out and she laid them against my neighbor's fence. I was worried that the dogs next door were going to try and dig up the eggs. On top of that, I just wanted to get them because it was a het albino bred to a het albino. And so I pulled these in hopes to produce albino. And that way, like, there was a higher chance. Well, while we were at Pomona, we had a incubator issue that I won't get too long into. We lost a lot though. And this we ended up hatching out a albino, but the albino didn't make it out of the egg entirely and ended up passing. So it was devastating. This was actually the lone survivor of the entire thing, but he's got a really cool like pattern on his back instead of just the normal scoots like all these. He's got like a really unique pattern, so I thought that was really cool.
How much do albino sulcatas go for?
Depends on where you're going. Some right off the rip, $1,500. Somebody tried telling me they sell for over $3,000, and I was like, holy cow. Yeah. Like I sell them personally for $1,500.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Freaking these recessive genetics, man, they really do something to the price of these animals. You know, I can understand, like, I think under $3,000 for like an animal, I get it. But when you start to get into like the 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, it's just like, come on, like, really, you know, it's just kind of, it's crazy. You know, ball pythons, set aside from that, because ball pythons literally are, it's a totally different thing. You know, you can't turn, you know, the Sulcata tortoise market into the ball python market. It'll never turn into that. You know, but you know, that's yeah, it's crazy, man. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Were your Sulcatas wild caught or were they captive born?
All of mine are captive born. Yeah, all mine are captive bred and born out here.
How old do they need to be to breed?
10.
Wow.
So it's an investment actually, like trying to breed these. Trying. Well, I mean, like males, and like I say, it varies state to state. Like I just found out in California, the hatchling sulcatas sell for $175, and I was like, wait, what? Because wholesale is $15 in Arizona, and that's a hatchling. $15 for a hatchling. And then, like I said, that's wholesale. And then retail, sometimes I'll see them from $50 to $100 in my state. In other states, I'm finding out that females sell for $1,500 to $2,000. In my state, they sell for $600 to $800. So like they just thrive so well in Arizona that they breed so much that almost everybody and their brother can breed them, you know. As to where you take them to California, and I was talking to a California breeder out there, and he was like, I have like, we have the really cold months, and sometimes the eggs don't make it, and I don't know where they lay the eggs, and so there's times like we just can't produce them out here. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, I don't have that issue. No matter what, they end up making it out there because of all the craziness, all the crazy heat that we have year round. Even though it's winter, it's still like 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess. That's
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy how much stuff sells in different areas, and I guess it all comes down to like, you know, availability. Of course, like supply and demand when at that point.
can people not ship them, or can you ship them?
No, you can ship them. I ship them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even sell mine in state anymore. Once I found out that they sell for more out of state, I'm like, the hell with in state. No. But no, there's too much competition in state so like I'd have to really lower my prices on them, and all of mine are het albino. So they're normal, but if you put the investment into getting hets and actually raise them up, you have the potential to produce albino. So, I mean, granted, I still sell them for around the same price as you would sell a normal no het. But it's either $100 here or $1,500 for here.
Yeah. How many babies do they have?
They can have upwards to like 40-something babies at one time. I remember I went outside once, and I have no idea how many hatched out at the same, like how many hatched like from different clutches. All I know is I ended up with 158 babies at one time in a single day of going out there and just collecting them from like, going around my yard. And I was like overrun with babies.
That's so insane. That's awesome.
I had to like legitimately get one of those really big, long Sterilite tubs, get heat lights and mount them from the side, and like mount them up to get them their heat lights, and then like the UV light over them and stuff. Like it was nuts. And then Silkatas need soaked every day, especially for like young hatchlings. It's like miracle grow for them. It really helps with the health of like the health of the shell and everything. So like soaking them for like 10-15 minutes a day, you will see the growth. It's just amazing. Like my boy SoCal Exotics out there in California, he bought one of our het albinos, and it was one of the smallest ones. It was like this big, tiny little thing. And he got his last out of everybody else. He bought that one, because I held it for him for a little while. His is now the biggest out of everybody that has stayed in contact with me that has them. His is the biggest out of the entire clutch that everybody has. And it's because he every day, 15 minutes, water soak, constant greens. Like, dude, he puts in the work with that little tortoise, man, and it is growing like a weed. It is insane how fast this thing's growing. But yeah, like I literally had to pull out one of those fold up tables that you get like for like picnics and stuff. I had, or like for expos, you get those little like pop up tables. Yeah, I got that table and I filled it up with shoebox tub after shoebox tub after shoebox tub, like completely filled up a whole table, and just started like filling those shoe boxes with just a little bit of water. And then I had to put those babies in, or like sort them out and put them in all those shoebox tubs to soak up for 15, 20 minutes. And it was, dude, it was a lot of work doing that with that many babies every day until they were ready to go.
Yeah, that is insane. That is a lot of work, man. Yeah.
That was a lot of work. But I sell to a lot of stores, and you know, I do a lot of wholesaling and stuff to stores and breeders and people that do like vend expos and stuff. So they were gone quick when you know they were ready to go. But that initial point A to point B was just insane.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, when I wouldn't say I got overrun with like snakes. You know, I did have, you know, my retic clutches were spread out enough, and there was like an expo in between each clutch. I think one clutch, like my first expo, I had like one clutch, and then the other one was like half of them were starting to eat, and then then once I like sold all the first, then the third clutch laid, so I didn't get like overrun, but getting overrun with rats, dude. Luckily, like being like having, you know, connections in the community, it's pretty easy to sell rats. But I had, let's see. So I built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rat racks that are 8 tubs high. And I had literally every single one of them filled. And then I had like I had like 1 or 2 racks full where there was like 20 in each tub, and it was just like insane, dude. You know, you open the tub and like rats are just like popping out because they're just, yeah. But like I can't imagine, you know, having 150 tortoises that you need to soak every day. That's insane.
It was insane, dude. Every day, I was like, I hate my life.
Good for you for soaking them, though. I'm sure there's a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily soak them like that, you know.
I try to do above and beyond when it comes to the animals that we get, because that's my goal as breeding is you know, I want to produce the best quality animal, and you know, I want to make sure before they leave here they're the best that I can do, the best that I could do with them, you know, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them before they leave here. And that's, you know, when people buy from me, I want that to be like my reputation is they're the best that I can do, or best that they can be before they get to where they're going, you know.
Yeah, that's, you know, a big part of that comes from you loving the animals, though, you know, and I think you can't really pay for that, you know, so I think it's cool you do that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I love working with a lot of animals. I don't like, I don't say it comes off horrible when I say it this way, but I like animals more than I like people. So I think that's where, like, I don't know, like where a lot of my passion comes from with working with these animals. You know, I'm surrounded by over 400 animals, including like frogs, tarantulas, lizards, snakes, turtles, tortoises, all that. You know, when it comes to all that, I'm not even including the fish. The hell with all that. That's too many. But you know, working with all these different animals, it's crazy working with all these different species and stuff. But like I like being surrounded by more reptiles and amphibians and stuff than I do people.
Yeah, dude. Do you breed anything other than reptiles?
So I don't know if, I mean, exotic wise we breed just about everything, but or like reptiles, amphibians, tarantulas, scorpions. But we used to breed butcher hogs. So like, you know, like when you go to get a ham at the store, like we were breeding those big hogs.
Wow.
And we used to breed those. We used to breed rabbits. which was just insane. And then we were breeding cows at one time. My wife, she's all about her cows. Actually, before I got with her, she was all into 4-H and FFA stuff, and so she's had this cow for like 10 years, or a little over 10 years now. I think this cow's like turning 11 or something like that. Grim, what up, Grim? But yeah, she's had this cow for years, and she's been more into the farm life, and I'm more into the reptiles than anything. I was and still am in the process of raising and growing and eventually breeding African crested porcupines.
African crested what?
Porcupine.
Porcupines. Wow. You have
I actually
some?
used to, a lot of people. So I used to have one. He had a heart failure. He used to be a huge part of the channel. His name was Kratos. And he's had some heart problems, and he ended up passing away on me just recently. But after him, I didn't think I was going to get another one. But a lot of people I've talked to, and the breeder that I've talked to, encourages me to try again. Because I had an amazing bond with Kratos. He was a great animal. Was really awesome ambassador for his species. Blaker, what up? So we're gonna figure that whole thing out for sure, But that's something to think about.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said though about mammals, dude, they just poop so much. I guess if you've got the property for it, it's a little easier. But like so this dog right here, her name's Riley. She's 2. She when she was like 6 months old, she went through her first heat cycle, and we were being really good about it. We didn't spay her because we were trying to wait until she had her first heat cycle, because I've heard that's better to like spay them after. And then so we were real careful, we put her on a diaper and we made sure she was in the crate. Unfortunately, she was kind of locked up most of the time. And then my wife was over there in Seattle helping me work on a project. She was just cleaning some stuff. And then my mom calls and she's like, hey, she was dropping something off, picking up mail or something, dropping it off. And then she's like, hey, do you want us to let the dogs out? I'm like, yes, Mom. But make sure that when you grab Riley, you pick her up, carry her outside, set her down, and then pick her up, put her back directly into the crate. She's like, okay. And my parents at the time, for some reason, they didn't like my wife that much, and or she was my girlfriend at the time. But they also, they liked her dogs even less. And we were watching on like a security camera that I have in my room. We see them just like open the door. She comes running in, and then we see the 2 boys come running in right after her. Within 5 seconds, my dog Zeke, he jumped on the bed with her and then locked. And she's crying. And we're like trying to call my mom, trying to get her like, Mom, what did you do? Like, we told you to be careful. Then we see her come in. She's holding like a paper towel roll, like just doing whatever. And when she comes in, she's like, Zeke, stop! Like, get away! And then she starts screaming, and then she starts hitting them with a towel. And I'm just like, I thought it was funny, and I've watched the video so many times. I've laughed so hard at it because I was watching it literally live, and then he unmounted, and then I'm like calling my mom's phone, and like I can see it's on like the nightstand, and she picks it up. She sees I'm calling her, and then she like looks down, picks it up, looks down, she sets it down, and then so she was hysterical. And freaking there were like I think the first litter there were like 5 puppies, man, and it was a freaking shit ton of work, dude. Luckily they all got good homes. And then the second litter, we were careful. I don't know, at some point like we just got past us, and we weren't able. She had babies with the other boy. Those dogs were a lot calmer than the first litter. But yeah, man, like I can't imagine breeding like, there's people that are super into the farm life, dude. I used to want to get a pig. I might get a small pig, not to breed them though, just to have them. But they're freaking, dude. It's a lot of work, man. Props to you guys for doing the pigs for a while.
Yeah, my wife was like, "Oh, we should raise pigs again." So I actually, and you may not know this because we had just met recently, but I was actually attacked by a pig just recently in December. And somebody's wild pig or random pig, whatever you want to call it, broke into the yard because I have potbellies. And my potbelly was in heat, and I think that's what attracted him.
Oh my
This
God.
thing legitimately comes into the backyard, and it was my birthday. We were about to leave, and I keep a lot of animals in the backyard. I keep the tortoises, the tegus, the turtles, stuff like that, the monitors. So it's Arizona. I always, carry. And so I go out there, I go to check on the animals. Well, I don't get very far. And I look to my right and I see the bush and I see my female and I see this big, like, black blob behind her. And I'm like, what is that? What is going on here? And I was like, yo, Sally, you look weird. And that's the name of my pig. And then all of a sudden, this white, scraggly looking pig face raises from behind my pig. And I'm like, what the hell? Before I can realize what's happening, this pig squeals and charges me, dude.
Damn.
I am like within 5 feet already, so I can't run. Like before I had any time to react, it already was on top of me.
Oh my
God! And so my right leg said, "We're gonna jump over this pig." My left leg said, "Nope, we're gonna take this pig on." And his tusk said, "Goodbye to my calf," and completely hollowed out my left calf.
Damn. Dude. Bad.
It was nuts. And so I ended up having to drop that pig, which this thing was either too stupid to die or just full of adrenaline. Because, like, I put 7 rounds into his skull, and he just kept getting up. Like, I swear I heard the song of The Undertaker, because this thing just rose like the freaking dead and then would squeal and come at me again. Like, every time. I was like, what is happening, dude? It was man, I love pig.
Yeah, you said even though Arizona might be a little more gun friendly, I carry everywhere I go too. It's like you got to. I don't have pigs running around here. I got freaking tweakers though, man.
Yeah, that's that's normally, dude. Like here, like I don't show them on live or anything because or anything like that. But like one's here,
sorry, bro.
One's there, one's in my bathroom, one's there, one's over there. Like I know wherever I am, I know there is one somewhere. Zombie pig. Yo, dude, Moon, for real. Zombie pig. Like this thing got up like too many times. And like I was an FN57 is what I was using. Yeah. And blue tip rounds, 7 shots. And he still would not stay down. Like, why? So my wife had to come get me because I couldn't walk. And I'm like missing half my freaking leg. And we're walking by, and I'm still like I'm completely drawn on this thing as she's like helping me waddle to the front yard, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "If it moves again, I'm mag dumping this thing. Like I don't even care." Like I was like, "You don't understand the level of freaked out I am. This thing kept getting up, but I think it's playing dead. Like it's playing possum over here."
There was a guy, he's a local guy. He's just a reptile enthusiast, and he has I think they're warthogs, dude. And he has these warthogs, man, and like there was one of them, dude, and it was a while ago. It's over a year and a half ago maybe, and it literally like freaking it's friendly with him 99% of the time, but it just like had a bad day one day and it literally attacked him and it just kept like fucking him up, dude. It like broke his ribs, tore him up a lot.
Shit.
Yeah. Those things are no joke, but you don't know if it was a wild pig or if it was someone's pig that got out.
No, I have no idea. I know it's somebody's pig that got out. Or it was so aggressive. They said, "The hell with this thing," and they kicked it out, and it made it somebody else's problem, which happened to be my problem.
Yeah.
Grim, you ate the pig though. Hell yeah, I ate the pig, dude. After I got home, I was all doped up on morphine. I didn't feel nothing, dude. So like, while I still didn't feel nothing, I butchered that pig and I ate him. I had to use the tractor to get him, lift him up though, because that thing was heavy as hell.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, man.
Luke, what up, Luke? Jason
So,
Pig.
you got a bunch of animals. You got tegus and all that. How much does it cost to feed the tegus?
So the tegus actually feed themselves for the most part when it comes to like out of production from like how much they produce egg wise. Like all their babies, they actually take care of a lot of the collection. But to feed them monthly is like about $400, just about. From what I'm not producing myself, which is like chickens and stuff, and then I go and there's a lot of farms around me. So like if any of them like have animals that like just like stillborns, like stillborn pigs or anything like that, I'll take those and I'll butcher them up and grind them into food for them. So they get like venison and all that fun stuff.
How many tegus do you have?
So we have 40. Okay, I was gonna say 43, but now we just took this one. So 44.
Wow, that's insane.
Too many damn tegus. Too many tegus. Way too many tegus.
That's impressive, dude. Damn, and they're all outdoor enclosures, like.
Yeah, they're all outdoor enclosured. And then I keep mine in groups. So I do a 1.3 to smaller males, and then I've got some really big, monstrous males that are like really good to breed, and I do them as a 1.4.
Nice.
And they get the bigger sized enclosures and stuff, and they like it out there. And they do really well in our heat because I do Argentine black and whites, and they do really well with our temperatures, which I like. But I still go out there every day, and I kind of mist them down when I check everybody's waters and make sure everybody's like water isn't like flipped over or anything. But because that's a common thing I have to deal with is either them flipping their water or just it's so hot outside that the water just drops, evaporates. Especially in the summer months, I really have to watch that. So I'll go out there and I'll mist everybody and too many damn tegus, grim for real.
And do you incubate the eggs, or how do you do? So you're cycling them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I use the outdoor temperatures to cycle them. So they're good until about October, and then it starts really getting cold in October. So then once it starts getting cold out there, and I notice they're starting to hide and sleep more, like towards the end of October, then I'll start grabbing them and bringing them indoors, and then I'll start. I put them in the black and yellow tubs, or black tub yellow lids, and I start cooling them off and temping them pretty low, and then they'll sleep all the way up until like February, March area.
That's crazy.
Except for Tank.
So you don't. So they like brumate, kind of.
Yeah, they brumate, and it's really good for them because the females have a higher fertility than without doing it. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. So you breed. That's most of what you breed, then, huh? Tegus.
Tegus, lizard wise, yes. Tegus are what we most produce is lizard wise, but frogs is the majority of what we produce. Pac-Mans, clowns, dart frogs. We do pixie frogs, whole tons of stuff.
That's badass, dude.
Red-eyed tree frogs. I'm looking to get. I told my wife I'm gonna hold back some of them, and probably what I'm gonna do is instead of holding back any of the dumpies this year, I'm gonna sell all the dumpy babies that we produce, and I want to put that money into getting like black eye tree frogs or the albino red eyes, and start kind of adding more morphs to certain species that I already work with, because I'm almost completely stocked on always wondered What temps do tegus brumate out? I drop mine into the 60s. That way they're completely cold, and I don't have to worry about them like being not cold enough to where they'll. Because the common issue I see is people will drop the temps down to like 80s, 70s, and it's enough to where they're gonna go to sleep, but their body doesn't actually shut down and keep like cycling. So like their body is supposed to come down to the minimal, you know, like just running the major things to keep it going. As to where if you drop the temp, it's gonna sleep. But if you leave it in like the 75 up range, it's still gonna burn through that fat. It's still gonna burn through like way more energy and everything else. So when it comes out of brumation, it looks skin and bone or super deflated, or there's a ton of issues. So if you can drop the temp down pretty low, then you don't run into those issues as often.
Do they need water when they're brumating?
Sometimes they'll wake up and they'll want water or want to like drink, you know, like, or they'll either want to drink. Sometimes they want to eat. Like my boy Tank. Tank gets up throughout brumation constantly. Tank doesn't even realize he's supposed to brumate. That dude is stupid. And the reason his name's Tank is he's stupid, but he's stupid strong. And like this, I've watched this dude completely bust through like thick wire that was like holding bigger monitors, and he's just rammed his head right through it and completely destroyed it, just because like he wanted to get out and wanted to go chase something. Wow. Like chickens or something.
Yeah.
And doesn't bring the core temp down enough. Yeah, and that's the issue, is if the core temp isn't down enough, then they're gonna come. You're gonna fall into that category of they're burning through all the body weight. They're burning through all their resources. So they're going to be pulling, the nutrition that they need to keep the body running from the body. So they'll pull it from the fat reserves. They'll pull the calcium, like it's not good for them. And so if you don't brumate them at the right temperature, you run into that issue. And I've seen some where, people bring them out of brumation and they die during brumation because they don't bring the temp down enough, or they bring it down way too low and they kill the animal.
Yeah, that's insane.
So like there's a sweet spot in it that you have to do it, and like I say, if you're not gonna breed and you want a tegu, you don't really have to worry about brumation.
Okay, cool.
But if you're gonna breed tegus, brumation is key for fertility.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I have one or two more questions for you. Yeah, two questions. So if you had advice for somebody getting into wanting to breed, whether it's anything in the whatever their desire, breed reptile wise, what would your advice be to them? Somebody new getting into this.
I'd tell them like as best as you can. It's really hard, to really put your to focus on like a project. But I think if you're gonna breed something, have your mindset, and like if it means waiting, a couple months so you could buy and save money, so you could buy like some investment quality animals that'll set you up, 3-4 years down the road. Luckily, for me, I wasn't able to, like the ball pythons that I bought, I bought mostly females. So, I'm going to be selling some of them here shortly because it's, I just want to upgrade my genetics. But it's just kind of making sure that if you want to breed, have a project kind of in mind, and, being willing to, you pay to play, especially if you're trying to breed like some of the morph pythons and stuff. Also, I'd say make sure that you have like the husbandry down, and you have like a breeding plan, like how you're gonna like cycle them and all this, and just follow it. And if it doesn't work, then then try something else later on, like next year, but don't like change it midway. That's probably what I'd say to them.
That's great advice, man. I mean, and that's the thing that I see a lot of is, somebody that keeps a couple animals and then looks at a lot of like, videos to other like big breeders, and they're like, I can do that, but they're still learning the fundamentals of keeping the animals that they're now thinking about breeding. And and the one common thing I see is uh, getting too many too fast, and then getting overwhelmed with what they have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you and I are kind of similar, man. You don't have an off switch. So you'll just work harder if it means you need to. Not everybody has that though. A lot of people don't, honestly. A lot of people don't have that. So I can definitely see, but for me, when I like start, I'm like I'm gonna be a snake breeder. I'm gonna freaking breed retics. I'm gonna buy a lot of snakes. I'm gonna have a lot of fucking snakes. I'm just gonna swallow that pill and I'm gonna enjoy this fucking ride. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
That's how I kind of looked at it, and I was like, these animals, I'll have them for probably the rest of my life, and it's so just kind of like, that just approaching it with that mentality too, I think helps. If you're gonna start something, see it to fruition and don't back out before you kind of, especially with like breeding snakes. Like if you slug out the first 3 years, don't give up. Just try and get to that 4th year or something.
Always keep your mind open to new things. Like, I've been doing this for 17, almost 18 years, just about 18 years now, and doing this, I learned something new about species that I've been working with for a long time. I learned something new almost every day. So just because I've been doing this for years and years and years doesn't mean I know everything. And so I love doing these type of interviews with people that specialize in one specific thing, or works with, like 3 things, and they're specialized in those 3 animals.
Yeah.
And now I can pick their brain about certain things. Like, if I have questions, I can pick brains about it. Like, hey, during the winter months, like anacondas, do you see yours more in the water or on the land more than whatever? Do you drop your temps down? Like, things like that.
Yeah, no, for me, like a problem I had with cycling them this year was, as I kind of added snakes, added the ball pythons to a room upstairs, I wasn't able to really drop the temps in my retic room very easily because I had so many more radiant heat panels, and then if I opened the windows, I was breeding the rabbits in the backyard, and my freaking snakes would smell the rabbits. So it's like, all right, well, I got to kind of, being able to adjust, am I going to temp cycle them? How am I going to do it? And it's like you said, man, you're always needing to change and learn. And it's, yeah. And like all it takes, with these animals, dude, it takes like a 2-week window where if you don't necessarily feed them at the right time, or you don't drop their temps, at the right time, you could mess up breeding for the season. And it's like, you'll never really know. But yeah, I think that's, having an open mind. And this year I'm planning on just feeding my snakes a shit ton, because I think with the retics, they reabsorbed, I think partially because they didn't have food, but I also think some of them only go every other year. They take years off.
Okay, just keep. Oh yeah, for sure. And one thing I like telling people when it comes to that, Grim, is when people try to like get into this for the money aspect, the most common, if not the common most that I see is somebody gets into this with a 3-year plan, thinking they're going to get a profit in doing all this and get too many too fast. That is, more overwhelming for them. And then on top of that, having trying to make their money back in all this investments, the high end morphs, the rack systems, the incubator, the herpstats, the thermostats, all that full fun stuff. Putting all this money into it and then think they're going to get, see a profit in under 5 years. It's just not realistic. Like I've been doing this for years, and I'm just now at the point where our animals are starting to take care of themselves. They're starting to really pay for themselves. And then on top of that, there is that income that comes off the top of it. But a lot of it I don't keep for myself or anything like that. A lot of it goes back into the collection. Better genetics, better equipment, things like that, and so or bigger, better enclosures, trying to put more and more into it. You're investing more into this every single year than you are really getting back out of it.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's
so and
thing.
so like, oh, go ahead.
Well, that's a big thing. I'm like, with me moving, I'm like, okay, well, I could work for someone else, or I can't, like, because I'm relocating, I could work for someone else, or I could start my new company up, over there. If I work for someone else, I'm not going to have the time flexibility I do now with taking care of my animals, and it's like, you got to make these major life decisions if you're keeping animals and you want to see, like, especially if you want to see a profit, you got to being willing to make the sacrifices necessary. What do you say?
And that's for sure. It's, if you're in this just for the money aspect, you're not gonna last long, as the way I see it. This takes a lot of work and more dedication than a 9 to 5. And like I used to do construction, I used to do demolition, and granted, I really like demolition, mostly because I get the Kool-Aid man through walls. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But I got tired of doing the 9 to 5, but I put in more energy into the animals than I ever did doing constructions. I mean, we used to remodel Starbucks, and 24 hours they would be back open, brand new, completely remodeled. And and so like we were part of the demo and the putback team type thing. And I a lot of people ask, like, how much work do you really put into this? And honestly, I don't see this as work. I love what I do. I love working with the animals. Granted, some people like to smell, looking at you, fucking stinky. She likes to play in her poop. But I mean, I love what I do, and I love working with these animals, so I don't ever really see it as work, And so that's why, I don't know, there's some people that you can tell early on that aren't gonna be around long,
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I see most of that in, like, Facebook groups, I think. Like I had this albino adult female. I had a couple adult albino ball pythons I posted in this group, and she's like, how much for it? And I'm like, well, it was listed for 800, but I'm gonna, it's been sitting on Morph Market for a while, so I'll drop it down to 500. And she's like, would you take these? And then sends me, like, these 2 pictures of like ball pythons. Like, one's a banana male, the other one's like a lesser Mojave male. And I'm like, no. I'm like, it's like, I'm like, it's like, I guess, I could kind of see, it's worth a shot, but at the same time, it's like, are you seriously just like snake flipping? Like, do you just want a breeder and this is all you have? Like, then, you know, and it's like she also sent me these pictures of these crested geckos.
Yeah, it's nuts. I get those messages a lot. Like, hey, I want this so and so. Can you take this? And it's like a ton of low end stuff that like
Yeah.
still doesn't equivalate what I'm working with or what I'm even trying to sell.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Like, I'd rather, you know, it just, but like, you know, people like that, I can kind of see how, like, okay, you know, they're gonna have a really hard time, you know, making the decisions that they need to, you know, with what you need to do if you want to be a successful reptile breeder versus other people that are more inspired, I guess, to make the sacrifices. But, you know, it's all just, you know, monopoly money. So
I guess. Yeah, my internet is dragging so hard right now.
no problem.
I guess there's a storm or something coming over because my signal's just all over the place.
People are gonna breed better for
So I don't know what is up with this thing. It's going nuts. See if this will help. There it goes. It fixed itself. Took it a minute. My Wi-Fi is just like jumping, or my data is jumping all over the place. If people are really going to breed, I'd like to see more getting into conservation of threatened species. See, and I'd like to do that if I could, but almost every threatened species there is, you know, it's you need permits to have in Arizona, like the crocodilians and stuff. That's what I want to work with. Like I want to work with the Chinese black alligator. But due to permits and stuff, I can't even. There's absolutely no way I can get one. So
what is it?
What I'm trying to breed. He was saying if people are really gonna breed, I'd like to see more getting into conservation of threatened species. And so like I was like, and that's something that I would love to do. Like you know, when I asked, it's funny, I had somebody ask me the question I asked, you know, if you had the chance to work with one or a pair of, you know, any reptile, whether it's, you know, money wasn't a factor, permits, things like that. If you could have any one or a pair, what would it be and why? And I could never come down to just one species because my thing was always the Galapagos tortoises to try to help bring their numbers up. The Chinese black alligator because they're almost extinct at this point. They're dwindling numbers due to habitat loss, and you know they're out there in China, so that's kind of why. But then you know my last one was, of course, you know it seemed cliche, but it's because they're endangered, and it's the Komodo dragon. You know they're now a threatened species. But the one the one I'm working with right now that I'm going to raise up and I want to breed is the rhinoceros iguana, the cyclura. And I want to breed that one because their numbers are dwindling in the wild. In captivity, they're doing pretty well, but in the wild, they're not doing well at all.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think conservation is really important. The problem is, like, you know, you kind of almost need to, like, you can't really, you know, these people who are tearing down, like, for example, like you said, China with the environment, there's nothing you can really do about that. You know, China's gonna frickin' do what they want to do, dude, and you know they're running out of room fast. They'll break into your house and kill a freaking child of yours, dude, if you have more than one kid or more than two kids. You know, so it's like they don't give a crap about, you know, that kind of stuff, dude. So it's just it's kind of sad. Like, and we're also fighting, like what you said, you know, we can't have, you know, you have to be like an AZA accredited zoo to have like a Komodo dragon. And I think you can't like, I don't think you can even like sell them or something. I don't know why it's like hard for zoos even to get them, you know, just because I'm not sure why, but, you know, I think, you know, should people keep them in private collections? I don't think the government has any role in what people do on their property, but that's my own opinion. You know, I think if you got a
Yeah, and that
Komodo dragon, I'd donate some rabbits to feed it.
yeah, like you're saying, Grim. Yeah, like even just because they're thriving in captivity, and then them not doing too well in the wild, I like being part of that insurance colony, and that's exactly what it is with the Chinese alligator. Is there's only a handful in captivity, that are in the U.S. and I think there's some in Australia, but I'm not sure. Um, but I know there's a few in the U.S. I actually had the privilege to get really close and videotape one of the Chinese black alligators, and that was over there at the Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary,
Nice.
which is a reptile sanctuary, one of the largest ones, and I believe it is the largest one in the northern hemisphere, which is
Wow.
weird. It sounds cool though. Um, but it was really cool going over there and seeing that animal, and then also being able to get in the same enclosure with that animal and being able to videotape and take some pictures of that animal was just simply incredible. We actually did get invited to go back, so expect more videos of that because I have to schedule that with them. But I do want to go back and do more of an in-depth conversation about that animal as well as other endangered species that they're working with over there.
Sweet, man. Well, hey, can we bounce to the last question? My wife's giving me the eye.
Yeah. So the last question was just how can my people find you?
Oh, you guys can find me. I use Instagram the most as a social media platform. Burning Heart Exotics. I think if you just look me up there, you send me a message, I see it the easiest. I also have a Facebook. I don't really post my animals on Instagram because I'm terrified of getting freaking like content removed and getting banned. I've seen that happening for a lot of people. It's really annoying how someone will post something on Morph Market, or I mean on Instagram, and they'll say like, I have this snake, and then it says for sale, or like I have a male, and then like they get freaking blocked. But then there's other people that are posting, snakes. They're like, this snake $1,200, this snake $1,500, and then they just do it again and again and again and again and again, and they don't get like marked or anything for that. So I don't want to get banned. I went viral on a couple Instagram reels, so I was able to get a substantial amount of subscribers. I got like 8,000, and it not very many of those people are like reptile people though. So if you just follow me, I like reptile people in the community following me more than just random people that like videos of big snakes. But Morph Market is probably where you'll see most of my updated animal lists. Like I have some ball pythons. I have like 3-4 clutches that have hatched out that I haven't even posted them yet. But if you just message me if I have any snakes available, I can definitely just give you an inventory list off the top of my head. And YouTube. I started a YouTube channel. Once we move, I'm going to start posting videos again. I'm going to kind of video the whole move situation, moving my whole collection. I'll kind of vlog that thing, and then I'm going to start posting more regular content, especially with the new reptile room I'm hoping to get. Hold on 1 second. But yeah, man, it's gonna be.
That is the fastest I've seen somebody run on this live.
It's
I don't even think I've seen Eric run that fast when he heard the freaking taco truck come by.
Damn.
I always love messing with Eric.
That's fun.
But no, yeah, make sure to guys, you check this back out later. I'm gonna get his links and I will put them in the description down below. It was great having you on, brother. It was awesome talking with you and getting to know you and seeing some of your collection. I look forward to actually getting to see you out here in California because I tend to go out to a lot of the expos out there in California. So hopefully I'll be able to see you out there at one of the large expos or something.
Yeah, I'm really looking to vend, spend a lot of time vending because hopefully this year, have like 4 or 5 retic clutches. So I'll definitely have the inventory. So I'm really hoping to connect with some people and learn to see what are the big expos around or the ones I should go to. Cause I'm sure you probably got a good idea of where I should vend and stuff.
I'll get you in contact where you got to go, bro. I got you.
Sweet. All right, man. Thanks again for having me on. It was nice meeting with you. Hopefully you freaking have lots of Tegu babies this year.
Yeah. Appreciate that, brother. It was awesome having you on. You're always welcome on anytime, especially when we do our big, like random lives on Friday. So you're always welcome to jump back on and hang out with us. But I'll get your info down in the description so that way everybody up here and people that rewatch this are able to find you. Cool. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us and sharing your wisdom with the animals that you work with. Was pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate all the people that tuned in, spent some of their night watching us. That's pretty cool.
Oh, for sure. I just realized that we have been on here for almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. Cool.
Cool, dude. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's what I'm talking about, man. All right, cool. Well, I'll see you later. I'll talk to you soon. I'll send you the message with
right on, bro.
Yep. All right, bye.
Right on. You have a fantastic night. All right, guys. Quick shout out before we end up. Zilla Footwear are awesome sponsored. Check out the shoe they sent us. It sadly got here after we left for Pomona. But double-sided print chameleons. I think that was flipping awesome. This live was amazing. It was really awesome talking with him. But again, make sure you guys support our sponsors and check them out. They do keep the channel running. But Zilla Footwear, guys, awesome, amazing, unique reptile shoes, as well as amphibians and other things. It was amazing. But I appreciate every single one of you that have stuck out with us and hung out this entire time. We have been live for almost 3 hours. So I appreciate every single one of you that have been here. Mitzi, you've been here since the beginning, and it is almost the end. I appreciate you a lot. And like I said, your shirt is on the way, so make sure you keep an eye on that mailbox because it will be there soon. But again, guys, I appreciate you all. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that notification bell if you haven't hit it yet, and I will catch you all on the next one.